Pellegrini on the left and Scamacca through the middle. So those are the teams for this third match in the group for these sides in the Nations League. The players take a knee, all of them. Italy said last night that they would support England in this gesture against discrimination and racism, and I'm pleased to say that that was greeted by the children on the far side of the ground, unlike Budapest last weekend. The referee is from Poland, Simon Marciniak, and he gets us underway here at Molineux with England in the almost all-white kit, playing from right to left towards the stand colours stand to our left, and it's England with Ward-Prowse in centre midfield. Gives it to Sterling, the captain. He led England out for only the fourth time a few minutes ago. Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane on the substitutes bench. Trippier from left back, a right-footed ball to the edge of the area, which is played back to Donnarumma, who takes a rather heavy touch with Abraham trying to get the ball away from him, but the big goalkeeper was able to get it onto his left, Matt Upson, and get it away.
He did well in the end, actually, John. I thought he was in a little bit of trouble there. Tammy Abraham's just shut that ball down. He shifted it onto his left foot, Donnarumma, but wasn't the quickest in adjusting, and I think there might have been a little bit of contact on the ball from Tammy Abraham, but he managed just to get it out to the left back.
It feels as though it's rather unpredictable with the two teams that have been named. They're a world away from the sides that started the final at Wembley last summer, and England now attacking away down the right-hand side with Mason Mount, who started all three matches. Mason Mount for England in these June internationals in this competition. Still Mount is forced back by Tonali, and Italy are able to win the ball back. They are all in Savoy blue, the colour of Italy, this vivid Italian blue, and the young crowd booing as Italy bring it forward down the right-hand side. Here's Pessina on his left foot, plays the ball centrally, and Pellegrini plays it through. Italy, first chance of the match, and it is steered wide by Fratesi, who was on the point of the 6-yard box. Ramsdale coming out, he steered it across the England goalkeeper, but beyond the far post.
Should be 1-0, absolutely should be 1-0. It was a brilliant move from Italy, lovely play, classic wing play of coming in, laying the ball inside, and then it was a run, I think just ran off the back of Declan Rice. Fratesi, he was just in behind Rice, the communication wasn't quite there between the two centre-backs, Tomori and Rice, and he just put a brilliant run off the back of him, right-footed shot, put it wide, but it should be 1-0, John. Yeah, lovely pass through to him by Pellegrini from the central area through the inside right position, and what a chance. He's playing well at the moment, isn't he, Pellegrini? You'd have to say there's a lot of interest around him. He's in great form, both for club and country, and he showed his quality with that ball. Yeah, he's one of the mainstays, really, of this rather inexperienced Italian team that Roberto Mancini has picked for tonight. The Roma captain, the number 10 this evening, Lorenzo Pellegrini, who wasn't able to play in the Euros last summer. If you remember, he was injured, had to withdraw from the squad. England coming forward down the right-hand side. Ball played in towards Abraham. Big night for him, you feel. He was challenged strongly, and in fact it's been brought back because he was able to find Sterling with the pass, but it didn't come to anything, and the referees brought it back for the free kick in between the centre circle and the edge of the D. And that challenge there has let him know he's there from Gatti, the debutant. There was a blatant foul, wasn't it? Just touched him on. And like you say, he must know Abraham quite well from playing against him. Actually, he wouldn't have played against him, would he? He's not played a Serie A
That's
game,
right.
So he won't know anything about Tammy Abraham.
He'll have seen him on the telly, Matt.
Yeah. But no, he got too tight there. Almost a bit over keen, went all the way in, and the moment Abraham laid the ball off, he was always struggling and had to foul him.
Yeah, our Italian friends last night here, who are not here in great numbers, but they were telling me that he models himself on Giorgio Chiellini. Free kick for England then. Ward-Prowse plays it into the penalty area after a little touch. It bounces to Grealish on the left-hand side. A packed penalty area. Grealish now back to the edge of the box. Mount with the shot, but no power on that. And it was straight at Donnarumma, who gobbled it up, as they say.
It was a tame effort from Mason Mount. Just gets nothing on the ball. It was pretty flat and straight at Donnarumma with not a lot of pace. He was looking to try and get that real dippy, swervy pass.
Given away by Donnarumma. Abraham could be in. A little chip and a dink. There was a defender there, and he has put it wide. Big chance for England. So one big chance apiece, and what an opportunity that was for Tammy Abraham. What a mistake by Donnarumma.
Well, it's the second time he's made a poor pass. Donnarumma been a little bit slow on the ball, gets played back to him from the left side centre-back, but he tries a really difficult pass into the midfield. I think it was Locatelli he was trying to pick out in the midfield, and Abraham steals in, and Locatelli, fortunately enough, just managed to track him back and get a block in to stop Abraham having a clear effort on goal, which probably would have ended up in a goal, because I'm not too sure if Donnarumma would have been anywhere near it.
I think he got the initial touch, actually, just as Abraham was looking to shoot from the angle. He got the touch, and that touch took it onto Abraham, and as a result, he rather screwed it wide from that very good position.
It was a suicide pass, wasn't it? From that position, the goalkeeper, you're under pressure. There's no ball out. You just got to put your foot through it. You can't play out in every situation.
Well, we've got a choice on 5 Live and Sports Extra tonight for you. Nations League commentaries as Grealish brings the ball down the left-hand side and he's bungled over, but the referee's played advantage again. Abraham have it, and then Mount, his crossfield pass, taken down by Sterling, 30 yards out. Now to the right-hand side. Reece James is there for England. James puts his foot on the ball and looking for movement. He's got Sterling outside him. It goes back to Ward-Prowse, who's dispossessed. Yeah, on Sports Extra right now, commentary on the Wales-Belgium match in Cardiff. That is a simulcast with BBC Radio Wales, but you can hear it on Sports Extra via BBC Sounds, and we are going to go there when we get an opportunity. But Italy have now swept downfield at the other end, and here's Di Lorenzo, one of only 2 players in this Italian starting lineup who started at Wembley last year in the final. Ball played over the top for Italy, but that is shepherded behind by Fikayo Tomori. So come in, John Akers from Cardiff.
Wales lead by a goal to 0, but we are waiting for a VAR check. We're about to see it from the referee. Offside has been given. It was Ampadu with his first goal for Wales following a corner. It's been ruled out. 5 minutes gone. Wales 0, Belgium 0.
So VAR, an early intervention in Cardiff. Still Wales 0, Belgium 0. As I say, that's on Sports Extra, I assume, with Rob Phillips and the team. England 0, Italy 0 here at Molineux, with this youthful sound of the young supporters, who there is a reason that there are only something in the region of 2,000 here, and that is actually because of the lack of space for buses to park around Molineux. They can only park something like 70 buses, so it might have been more, although I don't think they would have gone to Budapest levels. But
no.
However,
30,000 in here.
Yeah, and as we said last week, it's supposed to be a punishment. It's a strange regulation, but they're enjoying their evening here in the sunshine in the lower tier of the Steve Bull stand on the far side.
We've not handed out any horns either, John.
Oh, that's right.
Thankfully.
You haven't forgotten that since last Saturday night when we were in Budapest. England 0, Italy 0. One big chance apiece so far for Italy. Fratesi, only his second appearance for Italy. Davide Fratesi of Sassuolo. He's had a very good season, his breakthrough season.
I'm liking their movement, John, in that area. Twice now, especially on this right-hand side, this near side to us. The movement of the left footer, Pessina, who's playing on the right, is really linking up well. When they play the ball inside, they've got this lovely little curved run just to try and get between the fullback and the centre-back, and they're looking to play little first-time balls round the corner, like the one that Pellegrini played, and try and put them in.
That's good from Mount as England come forward. Volleys it into the path of Sterling, and now through for Mount, whose right foot shot hits the crossbar, and then Abraham on the follow-up heads it well wide. In amongst a load of bodies in there. Might have done better, actually, Abraham, with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mason Mount, it's just not falling for him at the moment, for me. When I've seen him lately, it's been in these opportunities, he's just not managing to get the final touch right. As Abraham comes in, the ball's in the air. It's quite a difficult header, John. It's dropping out of the sky, he's under a bit of pressure. Maybe should hit the target, but the initial strike from Mason Mount should be a goal. No doubt, he's got to keep that beneath the crossbar. Rattles it against the bar from about 12-14 yards out with a right-footed side foot. His right foot is normally absolutely bang on. Should hit the target.
Yeah, and he started the move as well, didn't he, with that pass to Sterling. England 0, Italy 0. Mason Mount not scored in his last 14 England appearances. Won't get much closer than that without ending that run. In the other match in this group tonight, Hungary have taken the lead against Germany. So Hungary 1, Germany 0, and it's Zolt Nodge who has scored the goal. Italy playing the ball over the top down the right-hand side, and here is Fratesi playing it back to the edge of the penalty area. The cross from Di Lorenzo is blocked on the edge of the box, comes back to Fratesi, and then it's whipped in by Pellegrini. It comes off Tomori, and it bounces down for Di Lorenzo in the box, who plays it right across the 6-yard box, and there was no one there in Italian blue to put it in, so England escaped there as well. And now Sterling carrying the ball away. He's claiming he was blocked by Tonali. The referee's not having any of that. Italy in possession. Matt Upson.
What a touch from Di Lorenzo, under pressure, running through. The ball's coming out of the air and he half volleys it into his own path. But what I love about it, he's had to use such a soft, cushioning touch, and he's got it absolutely spot on the run. It's not easy, that. Gets his head up and just flashes the ball across the goal in exactly the right area. But Italy didn't have anyone just following into that back post area. It had been a certain tap-in. Another really good piece of play, all from this right-hand side again, John.
And with Hungary leading, if the match is finished as they are now, and I give you that, it is very early days in these 7:45 kickoffs tonight, Hungary would be top of the group. Italy playing the ball out from the back.
Wasn't that bad a result out in Budapest?
Well, it'll look a lot better then, wouldn't
Make it look a bit better than what it does now.
Yeah, mind you, you wouldn't believe it. I know you weren't with us on Tuesday night, but speaking to some of the German followers after that match, bearing in mind they're now on an 11-match unbeaten run under Hansi Flick. Honestly, I mean, by the time I finished speaking to them, I was thinking, what on earth's going to happen now to Germany?
Yeah.
they were so downbeat.
Really?
Yeah. So we can't beat any of the big teams. So we've not got a centre forward. Defenders are hopeless. Here's Grealish playing the ball along the back line. Harry Maguire, he's another who's started all three of these matches. Gives it to Reece James, and then back to Harry Maguire. What are you thinking is that all about? Maguire starting all three so far, Matt?
I think it's go and play. I think it's quite simple. I think sometimes when you're not having the greatest of times, you can use these matches to go and just play. Keep playing, you get fitter, you get sharper, you get more confident. The belief just tops up a little bit. And I think that's the conundrum. You can play and obviously sink a little bit and it get worse. But I think if that was the case, then Gareth would probably drop him out. But like you mentioned, he's gradually just got better and better. He just needs to keep playing, Harry Maguire. Get back into the swing of playing matches. Yeah, new partner for him tonight alongside Fikayo Tomori. England attack breaks down on the halfway line. Italy coming forward. The left back Di involved in this, but England are able to win the ball back. Pellegrini has a look at Di and suggests that his ball forward could have been a little better for him. Germany have quickly equalised. Jonas Hoffmann has scored again, so it's 1-1, having scored the opening goal against England in Munich the other night. Hope you were with us for that on Tuesday night, and I hope you're with us here when there will be a full crowd on Tuesday night when Hungary will be here at Molineux. England, Abraham and Mount combining well. This is a much improved Mount performance already in this game. Hit the bar with one shot. Grealish now on the left-hand side. Grealish leaves it across the box, but Pellegrini stepped in, and Pellegrini runs it away, and he looks downfield, and then in comes the challenge from Declan Rice. Grealish is there as well. It bounces out of play just next to Gareth Southgate, and the throw-in is given Italy's way, 0-0. How good is Declan Rice at just anticipating where that ball's going to be? You know, if anyone's running away from him with the ball, it's like he just gambles on where he thinks they're going to check, and he's there, isn't he? That little toe, that side foot, that block tackle just gets in the way, dispossesses people really well.
England 0, Italy 0, but early chances in the match. 13 minutes played. We could easily have had goals in this game as Fratesi is fouled by Rice.
I've seen a couple of times Gatti just get a little bit rash, go a little bit tight. I mean, the difference in this level, Mount just spun him a moment ago, came short for the ball, he came all the way out and he just popped it off one touch, Mason Mount, and spun behind him. It's something England could certainly look at, and just trying to draw him out of that space and then running behind.
Yeah. Federico Gatti has got the classic look of an Italian central defender about him, hasn't he?
He wants to go and be physical. He wants to go and play up against centre forwards, which can, if you play against it well and the movement's good, you can really try and exploit that a little bit.
Yeah, he's tall, he's lean, he looks blooming
mean.
Hard. Yeah, he's got several days beard on him. There must be tattoos. Yes, there is a tattoo on his left forearm.
So he wants to have a bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And it is Italy coming forward on the right-hand side, and it breaks down England. Trippier's in there. Rice now driving it away for England, gives it to Mount on the left-hand side, his great friend. But Grealish then goes back towards the edge of his own penalty area. And we should say of Gatti, you know, he's been signed by Juventus. Juventus like what they see in him, and they loaned him back to Frosinone this season. Here is Rice playing the ball over the halfway line. Mount, and that's a strong challenge on him as well that comes in from Di Lorenzo.
He looks like he's got an edge, and I think that's what they see in him. He's physical, he can cope. He'll in terms of going and defending, he looks like an out-and-out defender, but it's just at this level, that decision-making, that's the thing that takes the time. And I mean, he can't be playing with any better players and learning from the two centre-backs at Juve and the experience he's getting.
And today he's playing alongside the 34-year-old Francesco Acerbi of Lazio to his left. England coming forward. England 0, Italy 0, 5 Live and BBC Sounds. The Wales-Belgium game is on Sports Extra. That is 0-0 as well. And earlier, the Republic of Ireland winning handsomely, really, in our earlier commentary match, 3-0 against Scotland. Ukraine earlier won 3-0, so Ukraine are now top of that group. Here's Reece James on the right, plays the ball into Abraham, who got a little bit of a nudge in the back from Gatti, but England still in possession, and it is with the captain, Sterling, and then England go back towards Rice, nearer the centre circle. Rice turns and just touches it back towards Maguire, nearer the halfway line. Maguire then, well, that was hit with some pace, right?
Get hold of that.
Reece James did well, actually, to control that, bring it down and play it back to Maguire, who will use Tomori behind him. Fikayo Tomori, you heard the rave reviews earlier in the programme from Tomori, the season that he's had with Milan. Mount gives it to Sterling. Sterling now into the penalty area on the right-hand side, shoots across goal, it takes a deflection. There are 3 defenders in there with him. It's behind. It's an England corner from the right.
Well, it's one of the rare times we've been able to get one of our wide players in a situation where he's faced up and driving into the 18-yard box, 1v1. This time is Sterling against DiMarco. Shifts the ball to his right-hand side. DiMarco does get the block in while we have the corner, but need more of those situations, John. Italy have worked the ball better in wide areas so far in this game, and we need to get Jack Grealish into the match as well. Well,
when James Ward-Prowse did the media rounds yesterday, we spoke to him as well. He talked endlessly about his set-piece delivery, so let's see what it's like. First chance he's got from a corner. Here it is towards the near post. Rice is there at the near post as well. Caught it nicely, whipped it on the volley, but whipped it not too far wide of the top right corner behind goal kick.
Nice move, planned, really well planned, delivery spot on. Ward-Prowse with his right foot just whips it over the near man, which was Pellegrini. Declan Rice drives towards the near post of that 18-yard box and just wants to side foot it in. Just gets underneath it, puts it over the bar, but really nice, well-worked corner.
So we're here at Molineux tonight on 5 Live for this first England international on this site. A very different Molineux back in 1956. But that was a World Cup qualifier, Matt, back in 1956, the first match in that particular campaign. Walter Winterbottom was the manager, and England won 5-2 against the amateurs of Denmark, as they were described. A hat-trick from Tommy Taylor and 2 from Duncan Edwards. You know, 2 of the great names from Manchester United of the past. And Duncan Edwards, who was born in Dudley, near Wolverhampton. Here is Grealish, plays it to the left-hand side. Mount, forward to Trippier. Trippier could have crossed with his left, back onto his right, though. Gives it to Mount. It's how Italy have dropped back in there. Ward-Prowse back to Trippier again. Trippier's low ball into the penalty area towards Grealish, who carries it out of the box. That fair hair bobbing as he does so. Then Ward-Prowse back to Trippier again. Mount's made the run. Mount chips it, but rather sliced it, actually, straight into the gloves of the hopping Donnarumma.
Yeah, just didn't quite get enough on that cross. Mason Mount is at full stretch, almost at full tilt with his left foot as well. Just couldn't get the angle to dink it back.
So it is 0-0. England 0, Italy 0. And the other point about that game back in 1956 here was that Billy Wright was the captain, whose statue is outside of the ground. And indeed, we are sitting in the Billy Wright stand. Stanley Matthews and Tom Finney were also in the team that day. I believe they weren't bad.
I mean, after all that, I'm now starting to realise why it was played here, John.
Yeah, exactly. Wales-Belgium, let's get an update from John Akers.
18 minutes gone, Wales 0, Belgium 0. Good chance for each. Gareth Bale for Wales, first time effort, low cross from James, near post, just wide, and Hennessy with a great save as an effort goes in on target from James for Wales. Tielemans, good save from Hennessy, the hero against Ukraine. Wales 0, Belgium 0.
Thank you, John. England 0, Italy 0. That's on Sports Extra, the commentary, the Radio Wales commentary. And the ball bounces through for a goal kick to England at that end to our right, where normally it would be packed with Wolverhampton Wanderers fans in that end to our right. Netherlands 0, Poland 1 in the other match in the Wales-Belgium group, and it's Matty Cash of Aston Villa who's scored for Poland. I think that is his first goal for Poland. Looking to see if there's any acknowledgement from... I think
spot on, John.
Yeah,
spot on.
I presume. Well, I don't think he scored for them yet. So a great night for him. And Netherlands in very good form. Here's Italy with the ball on the right-hand side. Di Lorenzo plays it forward, taken down by Rice. Trippier then passes it forward towards Grealish, and England go back to the edge of their own penalty area. Fikayo Tomori winning his third cap, but his first start for England. Must be full of confidence. Played more minutes than any other outfield player for Milan in winning the title this season. He's a lovely lad to talk to, very thoughtful, and he's obviously developing his Italian very, very well. Every time I see him doing interviews, he seems very comfortable.
When you're interviewing him in Italian?
I've not interviewed him in Italian yet, no. Matt. Well, that treat is still to come. 21 minutes played. It is Matty Cash's first goal for Poland in his 6th appearance. And here's Ramsdale on the edge of the penalty area. Just his second appearance. Played in the 10-0 against San Marino before Christmas. He had more to do in the first minute and a half than I think he did in the whole of that game. England 0, Italy 0, and Ramsdale all in yellow down to our right. Lovely sunshine here on this June evening. Harry Maguire now just rolling the ball out to Reece James on the far side, and James comes back in field to Tomori.
We're having to be really patient here, aren't we? Just not making any inroads at all with the ball. Italy just very much sat in their shape, not allowing any space, and England just having to be very patient. They haven't quite got I don't know if it's the confidence or the timing just to step out at the back and play one of those balls, break a line with the pass, make something happen as a centre-back in terms, or a full-back, in terms of hitting the front, getting one into Mason Mount on the turn. It's all a little bit slow in the build-up at times.
That's Matt Upson, England World Cup defender, and we're watching Italy come forward, and here it is with Fratesi, but that's good from Rice again, just arrives at the right moment, puts in the tackle, and England have got it back, and Grealish plays it across the penalty area, and Ramsdale is able to wallop it out near the halfway line. So England 0, Italy 0, halfway through the first half here at Molineux, and Ian Dennis is sitting to our left, and he will take you through to half-time.
Thank you, John. Whenever you watch Declan Rice, you can only admire him. You know, you see him on the TV and you think, brilliant, the way he reads the game. When you see him in the flesh, you get a greater appreciation of everything that he does.
Yeah, in terms of his body language, how he engages with people.
His reading, his drive.
Yeah, no, I think all of that is a star quality. I mean, that tackle just there, you never see him not make one of those tackles, do you? When he goes, I don't think I've ever seen him make a tackle similar to that and not come out with the end result of winning the ball. His timing with it is absolutely spot on.
So decisive, just on the edge of the area. Italy in the all-blue, playing from left to right. England in the all-white here at Molineux. Still a lot of clear blue sky above the Wolverhampton Wanderers ground. BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Jack Grealish on this near side. Changes made by Gareth Southgate, 6 in total from that side that came back to draw 1-1. Donnarumma left it late before passing the ball short and forward to Locatelli as Abraham closed him down, and then Mason Mount, who's probably come into this game with a lot of scrutiny on his young shoulders. There's not anybody in this England squad who actually has played more club football than Mason Mount. He's looked a little bit tired in these opening 2 games, but
look at that chance, though, Deno. Yeah. You know, the chance there, that for me is Mason Mount on his pomp in his sharpers. That's in the back of the net. He doesn't hit the crossbar with that. that's underneath the bar, and that's a goal. And I just think those moments lately for Mason Mount haven't quite gone the way that he wants them to go.
Locatelli with the ball across, and it comes out towards Tonali. What a great save that was from Ramsdale. The ball, first of all, from Locatelli, and then the right back running forward was Di Lorenzo, who's volleyed the ball back across the penalty area, and it's come to Sandro Tonali, and what a save from Aaron Ramsdale.
Well, firstly, Di Lorenzo for me has been brilliant so far in this game. He's barely allowed Jack Grealish a kick. His positioning's been spot on, and the way he's got forward has been excellent. He gets on that diagonal pass. He knows exactly where it's going. It's in his stride. He side foots it back across the goal, and what a save from Aaron Ramsdale. I mean, the space is there. The pullback is absolutely brilliant. Slight touch, ends up at the back post. I mean, that is a goal, isn't it? That should be in the back of the net. But Ramsdale scurrying back across his goal, leaves his left foot just out there, makes himself big, just leaves it hanging in the middle of the goal. And fortunately enough, I say fortunately, that is what goalkeepers do. It's percentages, isn't it? Where can I put my body that's the most chance of blocking this effort? And he puts it in bang on the right position, and it was a great save.
Brilliant save from Ramsdale. Locatelli has since been booked for Italy, so he's been shown a yellow card from the Polish referee Simon Marciniak. England then have this free kick. It's 10 yards forward of the centre circle. Shaft of sunlight coming through in between the Billy Wright stand and the Stan Cullis stand away towards our left-hand side. Quite a high line from the blue of Italy. Ward-Prowse to take it, right-footed, chips the ball forward, drops on the edge of the penalty area. Header comes out to Grealish, plays it infield to Mount, back out to Grealish. Mount has made that run ahead of him, but Grealish wants to come on the inside with his right foot, plays it in low. Tonali was there to clear. England try and win it back. James in the central area succeeds. Tomori then back with Ward-Prowse. England at times in this game, the passing seems to have been quicker in terms of the tempo, sharper than the previous two games, and a little bit better in terms of the movement.
I'd agree with that. I think that it's certainly from the first game against Hungary, they're moving the ball a lot sharper. I mean, the conditions are a lot nicer. It's a bit cooler. Although I don't know if it's coat weather, but it's certainly cooler than what it was in Budapest. Whether that has anything to do with it, but they just look like they're more cohesive. Just looking for that final ball though, Deno, isn't it? Just that final touch, the finish, be a little bit more progressive or a little bit more adventurous with the passing.
Well, that was an ambitious pass from Maguire out to Grealish. He's found him. Good control coming in off the left touch line. Mount back with Trippier. England now keeping the ball. Italy have every player back inside their own half as England play from right to left. 27 minutes played and it's still goalless on 5 Live. James just about keeps the ball in play on that right touchline. Inside along the ground towards Ward-Prowse. Back to the centre circle towards Tomori. And then Tomori will pass it back out towards Maguire. The fullbacks are pushed on. England seeing a lot of the ball. Ward-Prowse now towards Declan Rice. Still midway through the Italian half. Rice with his palms of both hands open out wide as if so when we're going to pass the ball.
He wants that pass though, doesn't he? He wants to see that move. Somebody to be decisive and say, give me the ball. And then he can play that pass.
Maguire goes inside. Grealish wearing the 7. Pops into a central area. Popping it off. Short and sharp from England, out to the right to James, looking for the link-up play with Sterling, the return ball, James back to Grealish, pokes it really at goal first time, and the Italian defence has cleared the ball away, but it was patient play by England, and in the end, they got round the back.
Brilliant, using the pace of Reece James. I'm not too sure if that was an effort on goal though, it didn't seem to put too much conviction in the finish there, Jack Grealish, not a lot of belief in that contact on the ball, was there?
Well, I said it was a poke. It just came off the toe.
Yeah, but he went with his right foot across his body, and it was like the outside of his right foot, wasn't it?
Here he is sliding in and actually catching Federico Gatti, and is shown a yellow card for his trouble as well. So Jack Grealish is now booked as it remains 0-0. Let's check in down in Cardiff, Wales-Belgium in Group A4. John Akers.
Try telling the Wales fans this doesn't mean anything. Wales 0, Belgium 0. 27 minutes gone. Wales on top in this game, having some good possession. Belgium looking good. De Bruyne, Tielemans, Trossard, Dendoncker, the Premier League players in their lineup. Wales 0, Belgium 0.
I think you'll find as well the wise ones amongst the 2,000 school children. I'm sure when they left within the 100-mile radius when they received their tickets today, their parents or their guardians who are looking after them have said, don't forget your coat, because with not much cloud cover, the temperature will drop later on.
Yeah, while they're sitting in those lovely shafts of sunlight across the fairway, they'll need their coat, will they?
You mark my words, the temperature will drop later on.
Who told you needed the coat then?
I always bring my coat.
So you weren't told?
I've been told to get my coat many times, to be fair. 0-0, free kick in favour of Italy. 10 yards inside the England half over on that left-hand side. Matt Upson is with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live. He may have underclubbed in terms of his attire, as Italy, with Gassi showing no ill effects of that challenge from Grealish, and Italy passed the ball back. It's been an enjoyable game.
It has. It's been a good game of football, to be honest. I think Jack Grealish is looking a little bit frustrated for me at the moment. He's not quite on point. You know, he's crossing, he's passing, his end product. A little bit of frustration there with the booking, the tackle that he went in. A bit of a poor touch and just didn't quite come off for him.
Well, he's passed the ball forward now to Abraham, who lays it back to Grealish. Abraham now drifts to the left. Trippier provides the support on the overlap. Abraham holds on to the ball, passes it back towards Rice, who in the end is forced to scoop it back towards Tomori. Of course, Serie A title winner with Milan. And now towards Maguire, who runs forward. Maguire, one of 3 England players who have started all 3 matches in the Nations League. Rice and Mount are the other 2. And Grealish looking to put pressure on Di Lorenzo, who is forced to retreat. And with a back pass to Donnarumma, who was player of the tournament a year ago at Euro 2020.
He looks good, Di Lorenzo, for me, the Italian right back. I'm a big fan of his. He's played very well in this game, looks very comfortable defending, and physically looks like he's got the match of anyone.
He's 28 years of age. He plays for Napoli, approaching 150 appearances for Napoli since he joined 3 years ago. There's James Ward-Prowse to Tomori, Trippier, a number of these England players. This is a chance to impress. Gareth Southgate yesterday talking about how he has to trust them, has to have that faith in them for the games against the top opposition, for nations such as Italy, and certainly for Tammy Abraham, Ramsdale in goal, and Reece James. These were the players that he wanted to have a look at in March, but was unable to do so because they were not in the squad. Ramsdale certainly with a save with his legs from Tonali's effort has done well. Reece James with an opportunity to play at right back, and James Ward-Prowse, who's had disappointments when he's been in the provisional squad in the past for the Nations League finals and of course the Euros, so an opportunity for him to stake a claim. Goal kick to Italy, still 0-0, 13 minutes to go to half-time on 5 Live. Donnarumma all in green, going to play it out short. Gassi then, the central defender, back towards Donnarumma. Slice that up in the air, downward header forward by Declan Rice for England, and now with Di Lorenzo. Grealish goes towards him. Di Lorenzo plays it inside. Tonali plays a square pass to Pessina. Tonali then hits it long. Scamacca's going to make that run, making a nuisance of himself, and then a header back by Maguire. High boot from Gianluca Scamacca, and smacks into the face of Harry Maguire. Free kick, 0-0.
Yeah, I think didn't quite catch Harry Maguire in the face, just caught his feet, and then Maguire's momentum just wiped out Tomori on the way through. But he looks a bit of a handful, Scamacca, doesn't he? He's another big lad.
6'5".
Yeah.
6th appearance for his country. Did score actually in the San Siro against Milan in a 3-1 win earlier in the season. However, Tomori was not playing on that occasion. It was when he was out of the Milan side towards the end of November. Back it goes to Donnarumma, away towards our left. Again, he's quite happy to hang on to the ball, but it was a clearance that has been won back by Rice. Slides down onto his knees. No foul, says the referee. Rice looks frustrated, as does Gareth Southgate, who has a word with the 4th official. Italy, meanwhile, break on that far side, the left, 0-0. Back with Tonali, 10 yards inside the England half, now with Locatelli at a gentle walking pace, puts his right foot on the ball, slows it right down just outside the centre circle. England have got every white shirt, bar Abraham, back behind the ball. Did look a foul.
That was a ridiculous decision a moment ago. I mean, it was a poor kick from Donnarumma with the ball at his feet. Has been really poor so far in this game. But he drags the kick, shanks the kick, and Rice is through.
Dodgy distribution from Donnarumma.
Yeah, it was certainly a free kick on the edge of the box, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Opportunity for James Ward-Prowse, had been perfect position.
England have a free kick on this near side, the left. Trippier is going to take it, the Newcastle United defender. Gareth Southgate just patrolling that technical area just to the left of Trippier, who waits. And we've got just over 10 minutes to go to half-time on BBC Radio 5 Live. Ward-Prowse turns, Maguire joins the attack midway through his own half to Mason Mount in a central area. Under a little bit of pressure, passes the ball out towards the right to James. Tomori just popped up a little bit off for his first touch of his right boot. Now to Rice, just over the halfway line. Rice inside to Ward-Prowse, lets it come across his body, spreads it out to the England captain Raheem Sterling, lays it out in front of him. Sterling waits right-hand side, cross takes a deflection, and then headed away by Acerbi. Sterling, been quite quiet at times, got round the back on that one occasion when he linked up with Reece James.
I think both the wide players of the front three have not had too much. Another one on the ball now, Grealish, not quite had the impact or had the ball in the areas of the pitch where they're going to hurt Italy so far in this game.
Here is Mason Mount, midway through the Italy half.
I think the sun's playing a bit of havoc on that far side. I've just seen the ball travel over there, and Raheem Sterling had his hand up over his eyes as if to say, I just need to block the sun out, otherwise I'm not going to be able to see the ball. It's quite low now.
It is, and in fact there are two shafts of sunlight coming in from the left corner as we sit here in the Billy Wright stand at Molineux for a game behind closed doors, with the exception of the 2,000 school children. England again seeing a lot of the ball with Ward-Prowse, back with Tomori. Trippier plays it up towards Abraham. Gatti tight behind him, tried to spin, couldn't. Laid it off towards Rice. Now he's hit that diagonal ball. James is forward on that far side, takes it high on the chest and brings it under control. James, right-hand side, right corner of the box. Back towards Mason Mount, towards the byline, clips over the cross. Grealish towards Sterling at the near post. And Italy doesn't go out of play actually behind for a corner kick. It's kept in play by Grealish, who has been complaining that he was being held. Again, another good passage of play by England as it remains 0-0 on 5 Live. Rice towards Trippier, left-hand side. Trippier waits, goes infield. Every outfield player is in the Italy half away towards our left. Again, good movement, and then the move breaks down, broken up by Fratesi.
Yeah, it was a good move though, wasn't it? All round, really. Nice switch of play. The pass has been a lot quicker, a lot slicker than what I've seen in the past couple of games, probably. And England looking to try and get down the sides. Funnily enough, it's been more Reece James that has been able to make that run and maybe stretch the Italian defence a little bit more.
Well, that was a ball from Ward-Prowse out to James. That was a feature of Italy, wasn't it, at the Euros, where they really pushed the full-backs on.
Yeah, and I think when you play with wide players that are inverted, like to come inside, like Jack Grealish, onto his right foot, then there should be that space for a good attack-minded fullback to get into those spaces in behind.
It remains 0-0 here at Molineux. That's the voice of Mass Upson, the former England international, as Pessina breaks forward to Scamacca, held up a little bit by Tomori. Scamacca, though, plays it forward. Fratesi on the right-hand side, the blonde-haired midfielder. Di Lorenzo, the right-back, goes back into the centre circle, and now it's with Acerbi to bring it forward for Italy. Along the ground, Scamacca lays it off to Locatelli, always looking up, passes the ball forward. Pessina able to turn. Fratesi, right corner of the area, swings over a left-footed cross. James on the cover to head the ball away. Fratesi brings it under control with the aid of his left thigh. Now on this right-hand side, Italy's turn to see a little bit more of the ball as it remains 0-0 on 5 Live. Let's go to Cardiff and John Akers.
It's Wales 0, Belgium 0, 8 minutes to half-time. Wales with a good chance. Connor Roberts, a header over the bar at the near post. Good cross from Joe Allen. Pulled his hamstring, Allen, crossing it. So Aaron Ramsey is being introduced. It's Wales 0, Belgium 0.
Commentary continues on Sports Extra. And don't forget, tomorrow morning at 10:15, the TMS team will be back in position for the third day of the second test. England resuming 463 behind, 90 for 1 at the close after New Zealand's first innings total of 553. And we also will be offering Grand Prix coverage tomorrow on 5 Live Sport from midday, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, followed by Northern Ireland against Greece. Further Nations League commentary on 5 Live. That's at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Mount, left corner of the penalty area, out to the left for Grealish, running on his toes, back inside to Mount. Mount shoots! And it was saved by Donnarumma, around head height.
Same spot as the previous shot, but a lot more sting in this one from Mason Mount. Strikes it really well. Gets a nice bit of dip on the ball, but straight at Donnarumma. But at least the pace was on there, and it was nicely worked between him and Grealish, who just stretched the Italians a little bit, created that space on the corner of the 18-yard box. But I think to beat that goalkeeper from that range, Deno's literally got to be power, and in the top corner, hasn't it? I mean, he's huge.
He is huge. Straight at him as well, and still remarkably only 23. He seems to have been round for an eternity.
Yeah, no, he feels that goal unbelievably. You can see in a penalty shootout why he's a goalkeeper that you've literally almost don't look at it, just picture where you're putting the ball, because he certainly makes the goal look a lot smaller than what it is.
Mind you, he did make his Milan debut at the age of 16. But he's a brute of a goalkeeper.
Which for a goalkeeper, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
To have this amount of appearances at this age for a goalkeeper, they normally don't start playing until this age, but he tends to he's broken that trend, hasn't he?
21 clean sheets in his 45 appearances for his country. He's only conceded 28 goals as Italy play the ball out of defence. Pessina just helps it on its way out towards that far side where Di Marco was coming in field, and here he is once again, the left back, and switches it now out towards Fratesi. 5 minutes to go to half-time. Diagonal ball. Pessina picks it up right-hand side, and this is Scamacca. And as he's turned 7 yards out, right-footed, couldn't keep it down. He skied it. Goal kick, 0-0.
Not a bad chance either. Not a bad chance at all. Just direct play from Italy here. No messing about. Played the ball forwards, got on the end of it. It's cut back to Scamacca. Just wouldn't come down for him. He has his first touch with like his stomach almost, or his hip, pops it into position, and if he just gets over the top of this ball, it's such close range that Ramsdale will be in a little bit of trouble there. That could have ended up in the back of the net, but he's leaning back and just mistimes it and blasts it over the bar.
Both sides have had good opportunities, yet it remains 0-0. Mount hitting the crossbar for England. Ramsdale earlier had saved from Tonali. There was that early effort from Fratesi. Here is Declan Rice, just outside the centre circle in the Italy half. Trippier to Jack Grealish, decides to come on the inside of Di Lorenzo, who tries to pull him back a little bit. Switches play out towards James, high up the pitch, right corner of the area. James goes towards the byline, sends over a cross. Raheem Sterling, who had Gatti towering over him, was just waiting and lurking. Back into Sterling in the penalty area, and then it was dispossessed, and a potential break now with Pellegrini, who's been in good form. Goals against Germany and Hungary already in this Nations League campaign for Lorenzo Pellegrini. Still 0-0, 2.5 minutes to go to the break on 5 Live. Di Lorenzo, Fratesi, Trippier closes him down just inside the Italy half, over the halfway line, almost a slip by Pessina, and then surrounded by Rice and Trippier. It'll be an Italy throw. Matt.
He's just always filling those holes, Declan Rice, isn't he? I mean, he gets through so much work, doesn't he? You look at the amount of times we've referred to him in those situations where he's come out of that midfield area to go and press the ball. And I'm not too sure if sometimes you just want him just to stay a little bit. I mean, he's so honest and so much energy to get out there all the time. You've just got to be aware that when he leaves those spaces, other players have to fill in, because his work rate is just through the roof.
And no signs of fatigue as well for Declan Rice. 50 appearances he made for West Ham during the season. Ball played forward. Di Lorenzo had made the run high up the pitch. Fratesi's effort from distance was closed down by Jack Grealish, who did well actually to keep the ball in play. Fratesi thought it had crossed the line. Back into the penalty area for Tomori, and Tomori hits a rather flat ball up towards Sterling, over the head though of Raheem Sterling, and now it's with Locatelli. This is Pellegrini dropping into a central area, out towards Pessina on the right hand side. Just over 60 seconds to the break. Pellegrini with a cutback. Fratesi lets it run through. Pessina with the effort. Good save, Ramsdale. Very good effort. Left-footed. would have just gone underneath the crossbar had it not been for the outstretched palm of Aaron Ramsdale.
Well, that's a moment where I think Kieran Trippier wanted one of the players to track the run in behind him. They don't, and the ball gets slipped in there. The cutback goes to the edge of the 18-yard box, and it's a left-footed effort. I mean, it clips two players, at least one player on the way through. Ramsdale had to just tip that over the bar.
Ramsdale has certainly done well. Two very, very good saves in this first half. It's a corner kick for Italy. We're inside the last 30 seconds. It's Pellegrini to take it. It's an outswinger. Maguire with a header away, helped further on by another header from Ward-Prowse, and then repelled by the header of Rice. Drops towards Di Marco, who now fires over the cross. There was Maguire. School children cheering over on that far side in the Steve Ball stand. It's like head tennis at the moment. They're enjoying that. They won't enjoy that. England players collide. Pessina tries to get the shot away, blocked, drops towards Locatelli. Good save by Ramsdale, dropping towards his right.
That is a good save, good handling from Aaron Ramsdale. Difficult ball to get hold of, just bobbling in front of him. Manages just to keep control of the ball.
Well, there is no stoppage time to be played, and what has been an enjoyable first 45 minutes has finished England 0, Italy 0. And both sides will be thinking, we should have possibly scored.
There should be goals, shouldn't there? I'd have to say, I think Italy probably just edged it in terms of the amount of opportunities created in getting down the sides and getting those shooting opportunities. But England had one brilliant chance with Mason Mount, really well-worked effort, and you just back him to score. If he gets over the ball, it's in the back of the net. But pretty even game overall, and I think both teams giving a good account of themselves.
Half-time then here at Molineux. It's England 0, Wolves 0. Lady Kelly.
Thank you very much, Dano. Matt, it's a strange one, this, because actually the game's been quite entertaining, but I think the sort of the atmosphere that's being generated by that small group of kids who are inside makes it feel as though it's a friendly. They sort of don't match up. No,
I agree. I mean, the players are so used to playing games with few people in the or no people in the stadium, but to have just a few, that's a bit. It can be a bit weird, you know. It's just like, well, is the crowd here or is there not? But I think you're right. The game has been a lot more open than what you would normally see. You wouldn't normally see Italy maybe being as open as what they are. And I think there's certainly opportunity for England to get down the outside, to get players into the box. There's good movement off the ball and good delivery into the box. I think we've got goals in us. So, yeah, it's a good game, entertaining game.
Kelly, can I just offer a clarification? John Murray said I said Wolves 0, Italy 0. It's England 0, Italy 0. Being here at Molineux just threw me. It's been the end of a very, very long season.
Get your coat.
Yeah,
it has, and we've seen in some of the performances at times that we've seen that coming from the players as well. So I think they were like, listen, earlier on I called Nicky Bandini Nicky Maldini, which I think actually to be called Maldini is probably something of an upgrade, I think, for anybody pretty much. But look, in terms of this game, who's impressed you, Matt, in the first half?
Who's impressed me in the first half? I think I always walk away from a game and I think I just love what Declan Rice does. I think the consistency that he puts out there is brilliant. But Reece James has got forward well. Ramsdale, a couple of good saves, but I think Reece James has actually got forward really well and been our main outlet on that right-hand side, trying to overlap Raheem Sterling and make something happen down the right-hand side. But you know, it's half time, but I think the game is really there for anyone. And England, let's not forget, England are bottom of this table. You know, we can talk about the World Cup and what's to come, but England need to win this game. They need to do well in the Nations League, and I think that it's theirs. There's opportunities here for us at the moment.
As things stand, it is goalless between England and Italy at Molineux. We'll be back with Matt Upson, Ian Dennis and John Murray for the second half of that one very shortly. They're still playing at the Cardiff City Stadium, Wales against Belgium, and it's been really promising from Wales, John Akers.
Yeah, they've been excellent. Would it make everyone feel better if I said it was Cardiff 0, Belgium 0? I think that was just to keep with the theme of tonight so far. They have been good. Both sides, like in the England game, to be honest, should have scored in this game. We've just seen the best chance of the game missed by Trossard of Brighton. Open goal, first time, left foot volley, edge of the 6-yard box. I mean, it came at him quickly, but he scuffed it wide. He'd expect to score. Hennessy's made a few good saves as well, and two big chances for for Wales, who attacked to my right. Connor Roberts with a half volley over the crossbar from 8 yards about 5 minutes ago. And before that, Gareth Bale, near post, left foot, first time. Made a good connection, but put it wide. He expected the net to bulge. There is the half-time whistle. Wales have been good. Belgium have enjoyed most of the possession. Ampadu had a goal ruled out because of an offside decision in the build-up. Would have been his first Wales goal. He's playing in midfield tonight, so he looks really disappointed as he goes off. Good support here. It's Wales 0, Belgium 0.
John, thank you very much. John Akers will keep us up to date with everything that's happening in that one, or you can listen to full commentary on Sports Extra. Coming up, we'll be back for the second half at Molineux, where it's England 0, Italy 0, and we'll be reflecting on Ireland's 3-0 victory over Scotland earlier this evening. That's coming up after the BBC News with Matthew Bone.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Kelly. Campaigners against the government's policy to send migrants to Rwanda are taking their fight to the Court of Appeal on Monday. The first flight has been given approval by the High Court to leave next week. Prince Charles has been caught up in the row after the Times reported he called the policy appalling during private conversations. The family of one of 2 British men who've been sentenced to death for fighting Russian forces in Ukraine say they're devastated. Sean Pinner was convicted of mercenary activities by a Russian proxy court in eastern Ukraine on Thursday. Mr. Pinner's family said he should be treated as a prisoner of war under the Geneva Conventions. Protests are taking place across the US to call for stricter gun laws. Around 450 rallies have been organised by March for Our Lives, which was founded by survivors of a school shooting in Florida. And the German ex-footballer Oliver Bierhoff has described the treatment of gay people in the World Cup host Qatar as absolutely unacceptable. He told German newspapers he was unhappy that homosexuality was still illegal in the Gulf state.
On BBC One and iPlayer.
Up the tops, Christopher. See what she can do.
The Top Gear boys are back.
Feels good. How cool is that? How many times did you hit a wall?
It's a few walls.
What do you reckon, boys? You two are like a couple of children that have had a go in a fancy dress shop. Well, we just want to get round in one piece. This looks terrifying.
Oh, my!
All new Top Gear.
Push me down. Let's go for it.
You sure?
Not really.
Sunday at 8 on BBC One and iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sport with Kelly Cates.
And our live commentary match this evening is England against Italy. That's goalless at half-time. We'll be back at Molineux very shortly with regular updates from Wales against Belgium, which is also goalless at half-time. Earlier tonight, the Republic of Ireland won their first Nations League match after 13 attempts with a 3-0 victory over Scotland in Dublin. Scotland struggled throughout the match and their manager Steve Clarke was not happy with his team.
Ireland deserved to win. We were on the front foot. We didn't cope with it, and we played poorly, and we lost. This group of players have done fantastic for me, and have done fantastic for the country. We've had two big blows in the space of 3 games. Probably the first time in a long time that's happened to us. And I'm interested to see how we come back as a group. You have to look at everything. Today was different from Ukraine. I think it was different. It was a different game. The Irish got on the front foot. We didn't cope with it. For some reason, we didn't cope with it. We didn't make the right choices at the right times in the game, and then we give a soft goal away for your corner, which puts you on the back foot. And Ireland got life from that. They built into the game. So, no, disappointing all round. A lot to look at, a lot to analyse, and we have to go together. We have to stick together. And we have to go to Armenia and get 3 points. I'm not going to criticise this group of players. They've been fantastic for me. Sometimes you have bad days. Unfortunately, we've had 2 bad days in quick succession, and we have to learn to deal with that and move on. Sometimes after a game, you just have to hold your counsel, have a sleep, think about it. Tomorrow I'll speak.
Can you give us a little insight of what the players are like in the dressing room, how they...
Flat as a pancake, as you would expect. Flat as a pancake. They're at a loss as well to explain why the performance was so poor. Against Armenia was good. Was bright enough in the camp. Obviously, it's 2 big hits in a short space of time, and we'll have to deal with it, move on, because we have another game on Tuesday, and we have to be ready for that.
Steve Clarke after Scotland's 3-0 defeat by Ireland earlier on this evening. At the close of play on day 2 of the second test, England were 90 for 1 in reply to New Zealand's 553 all out. England number 3 Ollie Pope is 51 not out. Here's England's batting coach Marcus Trescothick speaking to Alison Mitchell.
The down early tonight, but are you heartened by the partnership that's developed?
Yeah, very much so. I think it's good to see the guys, really having a good time out there and scoring runs and getting us into a nice position after a tough couple of days. But it's good to be in where we are at the moment, only one down.
Both batters had let-offs, but then there were dropped catches in the slips. Quite a few this match. Yeah. Is there any reason for that, do you think, here?
No idea. It seems to be a bit infectious, doesn't it, how it goes like that? But you try and make the most of it when you get those opportunities, as Mitchell did. He obviously played brilliantly, and we missed a couple of opportunities. But I don't think there's any real explanation. Sometimes it just happens, and whether it's a concentration thing or whether it's a viewing thing, I don't think we really know, really.
Half century for Ollie Pope, though, batting at 3. How different has that challenge been for him? And have you been working with him specifically in your capacity as batting coach?
Yeah, very much so. I think we're just trying to find the right balance for him. He's done 4 mainly batting for Surrey, and obviously then stepping up. It could be one ball different, so I don't think there's a great deal of different approach to what you need to do. It's more about getting in and getting an understanding of their bowlers, getting used to the pitch and the surrounding and what's going on. And I think he has the temperament, he has the talent to do that. It's just allowing the time that he can get in to show the skills that he's got, and he's got himself to a position nicely at the moment. Another big day tomorrow, and we'll see what happens from there. But it's great working with with him or Alex Lees or Zach Crawley, these sort of people. Trying to promote them and help them get better. It's a great sort of project for me to get stuck into.
That was Marcus Trescothick talking to Alison Mitchell, and you can watch highlights on the BBC iPlayer or download more reaction with the TMS podcast on BBC Sounds. Ball by ball commentary continues with the TMS team on Sports Extra tomorrow from 10:45. And the Southern Vipers won the Charlotte Edwards Cup with a 6-wicket victory over Central Sparks. Leicester will play Saracens in the Premiership final next Saturday. The Tigers beat local rivals Northampton 27-14 at Welford Road this afternoon to reach the domestic final for the first time in 9 years. It's been a tough time for the club, with former player Tom Young's wife passing away earlier this week. And fly half George Ford said the win was for the Youngs family.
It's been hard to put into words, really, what the week's been like. For the Youngs family, what they've been through is unimaginable, to be honest. But just how strong they are probably sums the club up, sums probably that performance up a little bit today as well. Tom was here with Maisie, so we all knew that. Wanted to make him proud. He'd have been the first to be able to try and run out there if he could today. So look, I've known, there's a lot of lads known Ben and Tom for a long time and understand what they've been through. So that was for them today. Some things, like I said on the TV, some things are bigger than rugby, and what happened this week is certainly that. So it's just nice to see Tom at the end. He came into the change rooms, he had put a bit of a smile on his face, and good to see little Maisie as well.
Thank you for sharing that with us, and we'd just like to say on behalf of the rugby family, we echo everything that you've said there. It is bigger than rugby. 9 years since Leicester have been in the final. Just give us a little bit of a taste about what you're expecting at Twickenham next week and what you're expecting from Saracens.
Yeah, no, well, it's a great week we've got ahead of us. We hope to see loads of fans down there. The atmosphere today at Welford Road was incredible. So what they've been through as well the last few years, to give them a good day out, hopefully. But we need to build the belief. We need to have a good week. We've given ourselves an opportunity. That's all it is. But we don't just want to be happy with giving ourselves the opportunity. So we'll be going to work this week. We're against a brilliant team in Saracens who've got world-class players across the board. So we're going to have to be somewhere near our very, very best to get the result.
Ferrari's Charles Leclerc is on pole for tomorrow's Azerbaijan Grand Prix after a brilliant last lap, which saw him finish ahead of Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen in the Red Bulls. Here's Jack Nicholls.
Leclerc has now taken pole position in 6 of the 8 races so far this season, but he's only won 2 of those Grand Prix, and that's why Max Verstappen is in the lead of the championship. Leclerc's performance was superb, securing pole position by more than 0.2 of a second, ahead of Sergio Perez in the Red Bull, who managed to out-qualify his championship-leading teammate with Carlos Sainz in 4th. But it's another pole and hopefully another win for Charles Leclerc.
It's a good surprise. Everything went well and I managed to put everything I wanted in that lap, and obviously took a bit of risk, but I guess as everyone in Q3 for the last lap, and it paid off, so very, very happy.
What do you think you've got to do to convert pole into the win for the first time since Australia? A
good first lap will be very important, as always, but here is going to be particularly tricky because the Red Bull are very strong in the straight and there are 2 long straights before turn 3, so we'll have to make everything to keep that first position and then focus on our time management.
And you can hear the race on 5 Live from midday tomorrow. Charles Schwartzel won the inaugural Live Golf event and pocketed $4.75 million in prize money. Andy Murray reached his first tour-level final on grass in 6 years. He beat Nick Kyrgios in straight sets in Stuttgart. Dan Evans is into the Nottingham final. He beat Jack Sock in straight sets. And Real Madrid have signed the French international midfielder Aurélien Tchouameni from Monaco in a deal that could be worth €100 million. Our live commentary match this evening on 5 Live Sport is England against Italy, goalless after the first 45 minutes, as it was at the Cardiff City Stadium, where it's Wales 0, Belgium 0. But really promising signs for Wales in that one. John Akers will bring us regular updates, and if you want to listen to commentary of that one, then you can do that on Sports Extra. At Molineux for us this evening, John Murray, Ian Dennis and Matt Upson. Matt, we talked before the game about the fact this is a sort of team selection that's been forced a little bit on Gareth Southgate, and where he's taking the players' welfare into consideration as well. Do you expect to see many changes in the second half?
Yeah, I think there will be, Kelly, to be honest. I think there will be changes just at this stage of the season, and the third game in with another one to come in quick succession. But you know, I think a lot of it will depend on maybe how the start of this second half goes. Like so many managers, if the start goes in a direction that they want it to go or not want it to go, it can really determine their desire to need to make changes.
Matthew Upson at Molineux for us with Ian Dennis, and first of all, John Murray.
Thank you, Kelly. Yes, welcome everybody back to Molineux. First of 2 games here at Molineux in the space of a few days in this Nations League competition to end England's international season. And as the players come out onto the field, well, there's not going to be a change at the start of the second half. Certainly all of the England players that started have walked out of the tunnel over the England crest with the 3 Lions and onto the pitch here in the sunshine. So England, with Ramsdale in goal, made a couple of very good saves in the first half. James, Maguire, Tomori and Trippier, the back 4. Ward-Prowse and Rice. Sterling on the right, Mount in the middle, Grealish on the left, and Tammy Abraham through the middle. Harry Kane led the line of England substitutes out, and they've taken their seats in the dugout. And Italy, who will get the second half underway in a moment or two, have Donnarumma in goal, the captain. At the back, Di Lorenzo on the right, Gatti making his debut, Acerbi and Di Marco as the second half begins with the score 0-0. And the rest of the Italian team, Locatelli as the central midfielder, Fratesi on his right, Tonali to his left, Pessina on the right, Pellegrini on the left, and Scamacca up front. He had a good chance, Scamacca, to score his first goal for Italy shortly before half-time, but put it over the top. England in the all-white kit with the red numbers on the back and the blue trim down the sides, against Italy, the Azzurri in their all-blue kit with the gold numbers on the back, just as there were last summer at the Euros when they became European champions for the second time. Since then, of course, Italy have missed out on qualifying for the World Cup. Can still hardly believe it. Certainly they can't believe it in Italy, as England go back to the halfway line to Maguire, who had to be quick in on that, but he was able to steer it to his left to Rice. Still shards of sunshine across the pitch, and indeed on the 2,000 or so school children on the far side of the ground. This match behind closed doors, but with a limited crowd of 14 and unders and their accompanying adults. England going all the way back to Aaron Ramsdale, the fair-haired Arsenal goalkeeper, in front of the Stan Cullis stand behind him, which is almost completely empty, just a handful of stewards in there. Maguire out from the back toward Prowse, and then Ramsdale quickly out to the edge of his penalty area. Right-footed ball, but that's poor, straight at Tonali, but it hit Tonali, bounced away, and England were able to tidy up. And then Declan Rice. England actually go back to Tomori on the edge of the penalty area. So Matt Upson's watching here with us, England World Cup defender, and we're watching Declan Rice take the ball out towards the far side. Ward-Prowse comes in field. Ward-Prowse getting the opportunity against this type of opponent. That's something else that Gareth Southgate was looking to give certain players the chance to play against a higher level of opponent in international football. Tomori now to Rice to his left. England still with the ball inside their own half, just keeping possession. touch from Maguire, then Ward-Prowse. That was a poor pass. It was straight at Pellegrini, and Pellegrini gets it back, and he strides forward from the centre circle, and he plays the ball to Fratesi, who might have got a push in the back. The ball bounced to the edge of the penalty area. The follow-up shot over the top from Pessina, but it is only a goal kick.
Well, that was very nearly big trouble for England. Pellegrini, super sharp onto the poor pass from Ward-Prowse, and Declan Rice just about gets back. I mean, from here it looked like he'd made a bit of contact with the player before he got the ball, and I think there's a question mark over whether that tackle from Declan Rice was a foul, but nonetheless he reacted really quickly and managed just to fill that hole. It's a good job he did, because I think that could have been a certain effort on goal otherwise.
Yeah, there's as England broke away there, Gatti grappling with Sterling on the halfway line to the extent that that's a yellow card. He's been booked, the debutant Federico Gatti. He's yet to play in Serie A, but is playing international football, and England take the free kick to Grealish, approaching the penalty area. Grealish now into the box, just plays it to the left-hand side, and then right-footed cross from Trippier is headed away by Gatti. It comes out to Rice, square from him, and Rice back to the halfway line. So 3 minutes played in the second half. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Still Wales 0, Belgium 0. That's on Sports Extra, the Radio Wales commentary. And that's a poor ball forward from Harry Maguire, who was trying to find Trippier on the left, but got underneath it, sliced it, and it went all the way through for a goal kick.
Well, that is the one thing I was going to touch on in terms of, you know, if we start thinking about where England can progress in this game and how we can be a bit more of a threat. I think both centre-backs, the time they've gotten the ball, to be able to step out or be more creative with your passing, it's going to get England higher up the pitch. It's going to create more opportunities for our attacking players. I think both Tomori and Maguire can do better with the ball. They don't have to play safe all the time into the fullback or just pop it 10 yards into Declan Rice. Sometimes just step in. You don't know what's going to happen. You know, an Italian player will come and press you. All of a sudden there's a space to put Grealish in, or Mason Mount, or get it into Abraham, clip one into the front. You know, just mix it up a little bit. It's a little bit too samey at the moment.
England 0, Italy 0. England making 6 changes from Munich on Tuesday night. Maguire is one of the players who's kept his place, takes this free kick up towards the far side, but that's taken down by Di Lorenzo. Plays it infield to Gatti. And Italy have not cleared it. They take it back towards goalkeeper Donnarumma, all in green, and a right-footed long clearance to the halfway line. Ward-Prowse is underneath that. If you weren't listening in the first half, both sides had good opportunities to score, and now the ball towards the edge of the England penalty area, but Ramsdale is quickly out and gets there and slips as he clears it away downfield, rather awkwardly actually. I just wondered for a moment whether he might have turned an ankle, but Abraham couldn't win it in the air, and Italy have got it back inside their own half. Yes, England making 6 changes. Italy made 9 changes from the team that started and won narrowly in the end, actually, against Hungary in Cesena on Tuesday night. Tonoli of AC Milan playing the ball to the right-hand side. And Italy still with it, comes back to Tonoli. Tonoli, right-footed ball across the edge of the England penalty area, but Reece James got up quickly and headed that away. And now it's played forward by Maguire to James. And James now with his ball into the centre circle to the England captain tonight, Raheem Sterling, who uses Declan Rice, and Rice now into the path of Grealish, and Grealish approaching the penalty area, right-footed ball right across the box. James has to stretch, open his legs for that, but he's got the ball now. James plays it back to Ward-Prowse as England attack towards the Sir Jack Hayward end of Molineux. Ward-Prowse, and then Rice knows that Fratesi is not too far away, so he does the full 360 degrees, and England go back into their own half. Maguire now to Mason Mount. He saw a shot hit the crossbar in the first half, also had a couple of efforts that were straight at Donnarumma. Abraham, a big chance early on in the match. Here's Kieran Trippier on the left-hand side, then back to Grealish. Grealish low to Abraham on the edge of the penalty area, the Roma man playing against Italy. Grealish chips it to the right-hand side. James with a low ball across, and Sterling at the back post. Couldn't keep the ball down and hoiks it over the top with an open goal in front of him from 5 yards out.
Well, I don't know if we're destined to see a goal in this game, John, to be honest. There's been 2 or 3 opportunities just like this, whether or not Raheem Sterling's caught out by the fact that the ball's made it all the way to the back post, but there isn't an assertive enough stance that he's taken in this chance. It's almost like he's waiting for the ball to come to him. I think whenever that happens, you're always a bit tentative when you make that contact, and it's just dangled his left foot in that area, whereas really stepping in and having more authority just to stamp that ball home. Doesn't matter where you contact it, just be positive and aggressive with your touch. I think it ends up in the back of the net, and that, you know, it was just a poor finish at the back post. Really well worked, and good cross from Reece James from the right-hand side.
Yeah, Sterling won't get too many better chances to score what would have been his 20th goal for England. So England in these 3 matches this month have scored just the one penalty, that Harry Kane penalty. It's Abraham, I think, was caught by Cherby just in front of where Gareth Southgate is standing. The ball's out of play, but to Cardiff, because John Akers.
Belgium lead. Wales 0, Belgium 1. Yuri Tielemans, it's the best move of the match. It involves De Bruyne. Brilliant play from Batshuayi. First time from Tielemans. 18 yards, right foot into the corner. It's a brilliant goal, and Wales trail.
So Wales still to get off the mark in the Nations League in this competition, this 3rd incarnation of this Nations League competition. And I can tell you that it is Netherlands 0, Poland 2. Piotr Zielinski has scored the 2nd goal for Poland, who are winning 2-0 against Netherlands. There have been some funny results, haven't there, during the course of these matches, which I think also speaks volumes. But it is 0-0 here at Molineux. 8 minutes played in the second half. And Italy with Pellegrini, who wriggles away from Abraham and Mount. And Pellegrini plays it through into the heels of Scamacca. And it bounces back for England, and Declan Rice now over the halfway line. The West Ham man goes. Rice being chased by Pessina, uses Grealish back to Rice with the angle 30 yards out. They wanted him to shoot the school children, gives it instead at close quarters to Grealish, who angles it now to Mount. Mount's ball across, that was cut out by the stretching Locatelli, and England still with it though. Mount curling ball back to Ward-Prowse, 30 yards out. Ward-Prowse gets the ball down, gives it to Grealish. Grealish's ball into Sterling. Sterling in the area, shoots on the turn, but Donnarumma can drop down to his right and save it quite comfortably, really.
I'd like to have seen Grealish hit that one. I think he was in a better position. He had a little moment of space there, Jack Grealish. He finds the pass, shifts it, and just hits Raheem Sterling in the box. But there's a lot of blue shirts around Sterling. He has to swivel quickly. The ball goes through the legs, I think it is, of Dimarco. And Donnarumma easily gobbles it up, but Jack Grealish just had a little moment there where I thought he was just going to try and bend one into the far post.
So it is still 0-0. That's Matt Upson with us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. All the interviews will be on the Football Daily podcast in the morning. Gareth Southgate will be talking to us, no doubt, down by the side of the pitch, and a couple of the England players about, well, it could be anything. Win, defeat, a draw. Here's Ramsdale with the ball in front of his penalty area. The Dutch have got a quick goal back. Netherlands 1, Poland 2. Davy Klaassen with the goal, and Raheem Sterling has been picked up for a foul here on the left back, Dimarco.
I mean, he doesn't need to do this, Sterling. He's in a good position here, and he's just too preoccupied of where Dimarco is. Gets his forearm across him instead of just concentrating on the ball. Yeah, get your arm out and protect yourself, but if you just judge the flight of the ball, I think he would have got his body there and would have almost been 1v1 with Dimarco. It was a really intelligent little clip up the pitch from Ramsdale, I think it was, straight into the space, and Sterling just got a little bit obsessed with the defender instead of worrying about the ball.
Still 0-0. So Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland are down there together. Must be talking about potential changes with almost an hour gone. There are now 4 players in this squad who have yet to play in these Nations League matches this month, and they include Conor Gallagher, Mark Gay, who did have an injury, and Phil Foden as well, who's not involved. He's not on the bench for this game, but I think the hope will be that he's able to play against Hungary.
I mean, there are quite a few, though, John, that you'd say could comfortably do 90 minutes here. You know, you look at Trippier, I think Maguire, we just want to keep the minutes on. Tomori, James, Ward-Prowse, Abraham, Grealish. You know, there's quite a few that you think probably don't need changing in this game.
Abraham, who is challenged by Locatelli, so Italy back in position. James puts the challenge in on Pellegrini as the two of them race to the centre circle. It's a foul, no more than that, even though Pellegrini has stayed down, just holding his side. So England 0, Italy 0, and Italy just take this free kick square. There's Locatelli in the centre circle. Locatelli forward to Fratesi, who had the first big chance of the match. And it really was a good chance, that, in the early stages to open the scoring. Fratesi, longer downfield from Donnarumma, bounces back though, headed forward towards Grealish. And Grealish now turns and sets off on a run at the Italian defence and takes the ball to the edge of the area, where Di Lorenzo is able to get a touch on it to take it away. And then the ball is played out of play off Trippier for a throw into Italy.
When he gets a head of steam up like that, Jack Grealish, I mean, he hasn't done it much in this game, but he turns on the ball and he just decides, right, the space is there, I'm going to go on a run. And he's just got this lovely balance. He offloads the ball at a good time. And I just think he could do that so much more. We see him do it more as a substitute. Would you agree? When he comes on as a sub, he just tends to do that straight away. Off the bat, right, I'm going to do this. Yeah. And it's effective.
He's played in more games now than anyone else for England this season, Jack Grealish. Harry Kane, they were level, the two of them, but for Grealish, he's made 5 starts and he's come on as a substitute in 6 of the matches this season. This today for Grealish is his 23rd cap in all. The Dutch have scored 2 goals in no time. Denzel Dumfries, they've come from 2-0 down to make it 2-2 against Poland. That in Wales group, where Wales are losing 1-0 to Belgium. Here's Abraham on the left-hand side for England, on the left wing, takes on, beats Tonali. They enjoyed that, the young crowd. Then Abraham into Mount, and then Abraham, the ball bounces away, rattles away off, well, Fratesi was in there. It hit Abraham in the end, I think in the face, perhaps on the nose, and it's bounced off him and straight behind for a goal kick.
And I think he knows too much about this, Tammy Abraham. It's a clearance and it just clips off his face. Who was it made the clearance there? Fratesi, that's right, just went to clear it and it just skimmed the face of Tammy Abraham and goes behind for a goal kick. But nice link up for a moment there with him and Mason Mount.
So it is a goal kick for Italy, that's all. And they take the ball out from the back as Harry Maguire is fouled. And England take a free kick, nowhere near where the foul actually took place. Tomori plays it across to Declan Rice. Rice uses Ward-Prowse to his right. He's been tidy, Ward-Prowse, in this game. And then Tomori rolling it back to Ramsdale. As a central defender, Matt, what have you made of Tomori?
I think he goes about his business a little bit under the radar. That's how I find him. I mean, he's very, very efficient. He does things in an efficient manner, and he'd rather get there, sniff it out, adjust his position, and it doesn't happen. I think he's quite underrated like that, because there's a real, you know, for me that's a good defender, because you're seeing things early, you're identifying it, you're getting there. He's very, very efficient the way he plays. I'd like to see him come out with the ball a bit more though, certainly in this type of game where it needs something, it needs a spark, and I think as a centre-back you can still provide that.
Grealish was challenged heavily on the halfway line, but England keep possession. James now to Ward-Prowse. Grealish back on his feet, 30 yards out centrally. Grealish low ball to the edge of the area, he was looking for Abraham. Italy stepped in and the referee says that was a foul by Abraham on Gatti, so it's a free kick to Italy on the edge of their own box. Still 0-0, England 0, Italy 0, half an hour to go. Lots of movement down there actually on the Italian side, so it looks as though they're going to make a couple of changes. And I think the interesting 18-year-old Wilfried Gnonto might be coming on. He's played in the last couple of matches to good effect, plays for FC Zurich in Switzerland. So he might be coming on, but also Salvatore Esposito, the 21-year-old who will win his first cap. He's another who plays in Serie B and has never played in Serie A. He plays for Spal, and he is going to come on very shortly. So Scamacca on the halfway line, high ball across the field. Grealish is underneath that, and England have got it back. Trippier plays it forward now for Grealish. There might be space in behind Di Lorenzo. Grealish takes on, beats Gatti. Grealish to the edge of the box, but as the challenge came in, he tried to find Sterling, couldn't do so, and Italy cleared.
I thought that might have been a foul, John, to be honest. I don't know if it was Grealish or the defender that won the ball there, but
Scamacca brings the ball down as Italy come forward very nicely, actually, surrounded by white England shirts. A back heel, and that means that the opportunity could open up for Pessina, who takes it to the edge of the area, but England were quickly onto him. Forward then from Locatelli, and now Pellegrini plays the ball over the top. This is a big chance, a double deflection, and the ball bounces wide. Trippier was in there, and so was the arriving Di Lorenzo, and the referee says corner.
Great run, Di Lorenzo, and that man Pellegrini, well, he's heads up all the time. He spots the run, clips the ball with his right foot, perfect pass, and Kieran Trippier just does enough to put Di Lorenzo off from squaring that back across. I think it was Pessina who'd gone into the middle of the box for a tap-in, and if he just gets good contact on that, Di Lorenzo, certainly be a goal. There's been quite a few of these opportunities for Italy. They've just not been able to find that final ball.
I think the replays have shown there that it's the wrong decision to give a corner. I think the final touch was off Di Lorenzo, but it is a corner, and it's a deep one to the back post, which is headed by Gatti, and actually he headed it back out of the penalty area as Italy take possession again in the centre circle. And here is Gatti, who is clipped by Abraham, so it is a free kick. And I think we're going to see these first two changes now, first changes of the match. England also, Calvin Phillips looks as though he's being readied down there, but the first change will see Italy bring off their central midfielder Manuel Locatelli, and Wilfried Gnonto is going to come on for him, and the other change sees Pellegrini come off from the left-hand side. So Gnonto has played on the right, but he is capable of playing on the left as well. So the first change, a double change for Italy, and Gnonto coming on for his third cap, and a debut for Salvatore Esposito. First time in the squad. He is an under-21 international, 21 years old, and he gets a big hug from Locatelli, and he comes onto the field. So Roberto Mancini using this as an opportunity, which he certainly can do. They're not going to the World Cup, so he's preparing really, as well as looking at these Nations League matches, he's looking ahead to the Euro qualifiers. England are going to make, it's going to be a triple change, and we are going to see, for England, Harry Kane coming on for Tammy Abraham. We'll get a word from Matt Upson on how he feels Tammy Abraham has done as Harry Kane. We'll get a cheer, I'm sure, from the school children coming onto the field. Tammy Abraham, Matt?
Yeah, I think he'd be disappointed, John. I don't think he's impacted the game in a manner that he would really like to. I mean, it's been a difficult fixture, but I can't think of too many instances or opportunities where I've, really stepped back and gone, oh, yeah, that's exactly what England are looking for. I think he's had a difficult evening.
And Declan Rice, who started all three of the matches, is also substituted. So Abraham, Mount and Rice are off. Jared Bowen has come on for his third cap as Italy come forward. So England making three changes, Italy two, and the ball is whipped right across by DiMarco. No one could get a touch for it. Italy in the middle, and England are able to clear through Trippier, and then Grealish's foul down in the England left-back position stays and remains 0-0.
I mean, it's a great ball. Mistake from Reece James, really doesn't deal with it well enough, and then how he gets the ball in from there, DiMarco whips it across the face, and no Italian player was gambling at all. If anyone did, it was a simple tap-in. And Mancini is sitting on the bench thinking, how many balls do we need to put across the face of the goal? And there's not one player in there just to get a side foot on it or any kind of contact to put it in the back of the net.
So Harry Kane is on, Jared Bowen is on, and Calvin Phillips, who I must say, when he pulled up injured with that dead leg on Tuesday night, I wasn't expecting to see him play today, but he's on. So Gareth Southgate is going to have a look at Phillips and Ward-Prowse in there together. Here's Grealish on the left-hand side. 25 minutes to play. England 0, Italy 0. More Nations League commentary tomorrow. In fact, commentary on the Azerbaijan Grand Prix from 12 o'clock tomorrow, and then Nations League commentary straight after that, live from Belfast. Alistair Bruce Ball, Jerry Taggart and Neil Lennon. That's a proper commentary team, isn't it? Northern Ireland against Cyprus, when I'm sure Billy Bingham will be well remembered tomorrow after his sad death this week. Ramsdale clearing the ball downfield towards Bowen, and Bowen now gets it down, his first involvement in the action, takes the ball to the edge of the D, lays it to Grealish on the left-hand side, packed penalty area, defenders getting back very quickly. Ward-Prowse with the shot from 25 yards, but sliced it really well wide of the goal to the right.
That is what competing well for the ball and simple drive and energy brings you from Jared Bowen. I mean, it's a hopeful ball up into the air, but he doesn't allow DiMarco to get ahead on the ball. It drops at his feet, he's first to react, he shrugs him out of the way, and then he's driving at the two centre-backs. I mean, it's a bit rugged and a bit simple, John, but how effective is that? It creates an opportunity, and all of a sudden Grealish is faced up, he lays the ball back, It's not the easiest balls to strike first time for James Ward-Prowse. He has the quality though, because his ball striking outside the 18-yard box is absolutely superb, but that impact from Jared Bowen there was very clear to see.
Yeah, he's caught the eye in all 3 appearances so far, and he's only been on the field in this one for a few seconds, and the ball is played long downfield for him, and the West Ham man, Jared Bowen, number 17 on his back, gets the ball down into the penalty area, tries to play it across, it's blocked by DeMarco, and Italy are able to clear. But it is very simply just doing for England what he does for his club side, West Ham, which of course is what's got him into the team in the first place. We are midway through the second half here at Molineux. It is England 0, Italy 0, and through to the finish now with Ian Dennis.
Thank you, John. It's remarkable that this game is still 0-0. If it was 3-3, you wouldn't be surprised.
No, I mean, how many times you've seen the ball flashed across the box or cut back, or a really good opportunity to score? I mean, neither team has really found that ruthless finishing edge in this game at all, but obviously we've got 25 minutes or so to go, so hopefully we'll see a goal.
Certainly the chance for Raheem Sterling earlier in the second half, when he lifted it over after the James cross that was fizzed over from the right-hand side.
Did that remind you of the Raheem Sterling when he used to miss those opportunities, like, you know, early on Raheem Sterling, didn't it? Just not assertive enough at that back post to step in and have the authority to control the ball. And I think if he'd have done that, it would have certainly just nudged it into the back of the net.
It's a chance that I'm sure Harry Kane would have absolutely swallowed up at the far post. Let's go back to Cardiff, John Akers.
Where it's Wales 0, Belgium 1, and Wales attacking to my left-hand side. Reece Norrington-Davies is on for them. Torgan Hazard is on for Belgium as Wales have an opportunity, but it bounces through to the goalkeeper. Joe Rodon's just had a right-foot shot just over the crossbar. It's Wales 0, Belgium 1.
Commentary of that continues on 5 Live Sports Extra. Netherlands 2, Poland 2 in that group, and earlier in Group B1, Ukraine beats Armenia 3-0. That was played in Uj in Poland, and the Republic of Ireland beat Scotland by 3-0 in our earlier commentary game on 5 Live. Just over 20 minutes remain then of normal time here at Molineux. Still 0-0, and Gnonto turns inside the penalty area, gets the shot away too off his right foot. That was a sharp turn, it was a low shot that, I'd imagine Ramsdale had his near post covered. It hits the side netting, out for a goal kick.
He's a live wire, isn't he?
He is.
Gnonto, powerful, dynamic player, real low centre of gravity, and he finds a little bit of space, just strikes it with his right foot, but into the side netting.
He's quite stocky, the teenager, plays his football in Zurich in Switzerland after he was released by Antonio Conte when he was in charge at Inter. Only his 3rd appearance for Italy, after a substitute appearance against Germany where he made his debut, and then he started against Hungary. But as you say, Matt, a real live wire as Italy in the all blue are playing from right to left with under 20 minutes remaining, and it's still goalless in this Nations League encounter. Ramsdale didn't really get much elevation with his ball out of the back. That's the area, of course, where Jordan Pickford excels in terms of his distribution, as the ball is played back by Acerbi to the imposing figure of Donnarumma, all in green. England press. Acerbi, left-footed, chips it up towards the halfway line, glancing header from Scamacca. Tomori is there though for England, now towards Grealish. A little bit of a stumble inside the centre circle, but he recovers, still keeps the ball to his feet, but he's still inside the centre circle at the end of all that. And now it's with Maguire towards Phillips, substitute for Declan Rice, who once again impressed for England. Ward-Prowse, Grealish out towards that left-hand side, still inside his own half. Tomori then to Kane, dropping into the centre circle. James thought about making a dart run. Everybody's come quite short at the minute for England. Here is James on this right-hand side to Bowen. Bowen back towards James, and James unable to turn to Maguire, closed down by the pressing of Italy, and in the end it goes out for an Italy throw.
I didn't like that passage of play from England at all. It wasn't progressive anywhere near as much. It was a bit negative. First touch was always backwards, and we played ourselves into trouble really, to the point of where we're laying the ball back to Maguire. He's under big pressure.
Well, they'd run it back there, and then Kane's ball in field towards Sterling, lost it momentarily. Back now with Grealish, Grealish with a back heel, Sterling edge of the area, darts into the box, Sterling left-hand side, and then Pessina will run it away and out to safety for Italy. Just that cutting edge England seem to be lacking in that final third. Ball chipped long, up towards Scamacca. Tomori, tight behind him, out it goes for an England throw, taken quickly. Grealish kills the ball dead, left-hand side, back towards Trippier, inside to Phillips, lets it run across his body, into the centre circle, he trundles. The Leeds United midfielder, didn't train yesterday, was a doubt coming into this game, but named in the squad of 23 by Gareth Southgate, and coming on the Leeds midfielder for what is his 22nd appearance for England after an injury-hit campaign for the West Yorkshire club, who narrowly survived relegation. Here is Maguire. James, right-hand side. Bowen in a central area. England, though, at the minute playing in front of Italy and being forced back, and helped on its way by Ward-Prowse towards Tomori. Ward-Prowse now in the centre circle. Looks quite comfortable from an Italian point of view, the way they're dealing with England at the moment.
Yeah, because it's a bit safe. And I think that little side foot pass at Tomori, he's on the ball now. Let's see where he goes with the ball in terms of being progressive. It's those passes all the time. James Ward-Prowse is next to him. He's 5 yards away. You know, the Italians are happy. They're well set. The midfield's there. The front three are just adjusting and pressing. Again, Cyber's pass to Calvin Phillips is right next to him. You almost want him to get away, get up the pitch, and then allow Tomori and Maguire to step in and play higher up.
Kane goes inside, Bowen picks it up, central area, 30 yards out from goal, back towards Phillips. Italy have everybody back behind the ball. Here is Sterling, snapping at his heels was DiMarco. Now with Tomori back inside the centre circle, Tonali given away, and Pessina picks it up now for Italy. That was a little bit sloppy there by England. Pessina waits for them to support, and Yonto going through the middle, but his pass can't find him. Much to the frustration of Roberto Mancini in his grey suit in the technical area down towards our left. And England throw it out underarm. Ramsdale to Maguire, still 0-0, just over a quarter of an hour remains. Here is Phillips, out to Trippier.
It's dropped a bit colder, hasn't it?
Did tell you. That was natural with the lack of cloud cover.
Good job you were prepared.
Yeah, always prepared. Further substitutions are about to be made. Raspadori is going to be coming on for Roberto Mancini's Italy, as it's still 0-0 here on 5 Live.
He's got a jacket on the back of his seat, you know. Saw him come out at half-time.
Yeah.
Mancini, yeah. He read the script, didn't he?
Here is Trippier, left-hand side. Matt Upson in a rather playful mood tonight here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Sterling inside to Ward-Prowse, who with you through until 10 o'clock. Here is Phillips. Will we have a goal in the 14.5 minutes that remain? Grealish picks it up from distance, runs forward, 30 yards out from goal. To James. Back towards Grealish with his back to the penalty area. Maguire spreads it out towards Trippier. Left corner of the penalty area. Ball in towards Sterling, and the move's going to peter out, and out for a goal kick it goes.
Not quite enough, is it? Not enough movement. The Italians being very dogged. Gatti there, able to get his body in and just see Raheem Sterling out wide, and I don't know, it's just lacked that little bit of potency, hasn't it, up front for England. We've not really created too much in this second half.
Raspadori is going to replace Scamacca, like for like, forward. His second appearance in this Nations League campaign that is squeezed in to a 4-game period in Group A3, where England are currently bottom. Particularly have a good record actually in the Nations League of late. 1 win in their last 5, failed to score on 3 of those matches, and a blank tonight, although they have come close. Mind you, so have Italy, as it's still goalless, and that'll be a free kick for a foul on Yunto.
He's a different proposition, isn't he, from Scamacca. Raspadori, is it Raspadori?
It is.
He's a very different proposition. He's very much that short, low, quick, makes little runs. I mean, they've been so used to playing against Scamacca in this game, whose movement hasn't been great. He's very big and can hold the ball up, but Tomori and Maguire both been quite comfortable against him. I think the players now on the pitch, this last 20 minutes, are going to try and stretch England a little bit.
England have already used 3 substitutes. There's going to be a 4th with Bukayo Saka coming on, the Arsenal player, for what will be his 17th appearance for his country. Back to Donnarumma, plays it forward. Esposito plays it back, and now it's out with Acerbi. Fratese's turn, loses the ball. England then give it away, runs free. Harry Kane tried to get there. Pessina sliding in, got a little bit scrappy from both sides with 12 minutes remaining, still 0-0. Final instructions from Gareth Southgate to Bukayo Saka. Near side, DiMarco. Ball played up towards Fratesi. Tonali's come across to this near side. It's back though with Acerbi. Salvatore Esposito takes over. And at a walking pace back with Acerbi. England just drop off, quite happy for him to have it there. Strokes it left-footed across to his fellow central defender, Federico Gatti. Just over 10 minutes remaining of normal time. Italy give the ball away. Sterling up towards Harry Kane. Harry Kane enters the penalty area. Sterling in close proximity. Back towards Grealish. Left corner of the penalty area. Back it goes towards Kane. Inside, Sterling and Kane. Back towards Kane. Takes it on the run. Hits it first time left-footed. Couldn't keep it down. Goal kick 0-0.
Well, the ball just fell for Harry Kane. Rather fortunately, actually. It was nice, positive play. So I like the fact they've created their own luck here, but it's played a little 1-2. There's a little ricochet off the back of Raheem Sterling as he runs away, and it just falls for Harry Kane. Little snapshot, pretty difficult, just couldn't get his body over it and keep it down, went well over the bar.
Sterling's been replaced by Saka. Your thoughts on Raheem Sterling's performance tonight?
It's not been one of his best, if I'm honest. Subdued, and I just don't think the quality's been quite there. I think the moments where we've seen him be really clinical and his timing and his decision-making with his passing spot on, it hasn't looked like that tonight.
We have commentary currently on Sports Extra of Wales against Belgium. Keeping us up to date here on 5 Live, John Akers.
Wales 0, Belgium 1. Brennan Johnson has just gone close for Wales. He's on as a substitute for Gareth Bale. A left-foot curler deflected wide. Kevin De Bruyne has gone off for Belgium. Eden Hazard, full of running, has come on. Wales in real danger of dropping down to League B here. Wales 0, Belgium 1.
Although in this international break, their aim was achieved in a spine-tingling atmosphere last Sunday by beating Ukraine to reach their first World Cup final since 1958. Here, Molineux hosting its first Men's England International since they played Denmark in 1956, 66 years ago. We'll have another one then on Tuesday. Then the women are actually here in action on Thursday night against Belgium's women ahead of the Euro campaign that starts on the 6th of July. I hope the groundsman, Wayne Lombard, is invoicing the FA. He's working overtime this week. 3 games in 6 days.
It's like you, Demo.
Here is Tomori sliding into a challenge and had to get there because Anyonto was making a darting run in from that right-hand side. Trippier brings it away. Ward-Prowse back towards Tomori. That was a well-timed challenge.
It was a well-timed challenge, and it's got to that stage where the ball is actually starting to zip about a little bit. You've got that evening moisture on the pitch, and it's a very slick surface at the moment.
Ward-Prowse just sliding into the challenge and catching Pessina, and is shown a yellow card, the Southampton midfielder. It was just laid up a little bit short. It was a 50-50 challenge. He had to get there, did James Ward-Prowse. I think it was on the follow-through, and it just caught the back of the legs of Pessina.
Yeah, he was late. Pessina gets there first clearly, and once he's gone to ground, James Ward-Prowse, his momentum's always going to take him through into the tackle, and quite rightly a yellow card.
It's like the 4th yellow card of the contest that remains 0-0 here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Esposito is going to take the free kick. He plays it out wide towards DiMarco. DiMarco's left-footed cross blocked by Phillips, bounces up into the air, and then Esposito volleys and hammers it back towards Donnarumma. And Donnarumma was actually out of his penalty area. He was forced to go out towards the right-hand side. He now clears it long, the Italian goalkeeper. Tomori heads it forward. Kane lays it off. Phillips caught in possession. Trippier helps out. Tomori plays it out towards James, did well under pressure. 8 minutes remain of normal time on 5 Live, and it's still 0-0. James holds off Tonali, lays it back towards Maguire, standing still. I think that fourth natural central defensive role is still very much up for grabs regarding the World Cup. If you think fitness permitting, you've got Cody, Stones and Maguire. Tyrone Mings, of course, not involved in this squad. You've got the potential for players such as a Walker or a White to fill in. But in terms of an out-and-out centre-back, that fourth berth is potentially still available.
He's right up for grabs.
Yeah.
I think a shirt in the starting 11's right up for grabs, if I'm honest. I think the start of the new season is going to be so interesting as to what players are going to hit the ground running and be in really good form for their club teams, and which players aren't, and how that's going to impact the international scene.
And of course, once the season is up and running and the fixtures are out next week in the Premier League, a reminder that there'll only be 2 England internationals in September before Gareth Southgate names his squad.
So how much will Gareth Southgate take off the domestic league then in terms of selection and starting 11? It's going to be interesting.
It will, and it should be a squad of 26. And I think what will happen as well is that the 26 players will be all available for the actual match days during the World Cup. That's yet to be announced, but the noises are that's what's going to happen. It's Grealish coming in off that left touch line to Phillips. Phillips hits it early. Saka looking to get round the back. The goalkeeper Donnarumma was there, and the ball just about reached him before Saka entered the penalty area with 6.5 minutes remaining.
I mean, when was the last time that Saka came face to face with Donnarumma? It's an interesting game for Saka, isn't it, to come on and play against Italy after that penalty in the Euros final.
Here is Phillips to James, forced out wide. Certainly there was a couple of questions in the press conference yesterday to Roberto Mancini here in the press room at Molineux about will it be a revenge mission for England. England, though, haven't beaten Italy on English soil since 1977. 2-0 in a World Cup qualifier. Kevin Keegan and Trevor Brooking on target. But Italy have lost just 2 of their last 15 against England in all competitions.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It is. Heading for a draw with just over 5 minutes remaining. As John Murray says, the reaction from Gareth Southgate and the players will be on the 5 Live Football Daily podcast as Di Lorenzo picks it up, the Italian right back, and now inside Esposito, short of the halfway line, plays the ball out wide, and then Italy go back towards Gassi, this rugged central defender. Acerbi, DeMarco, down the line he goes on the left-hand side, cut out by James. Saka on the right-hand side now running in field, forward ball to Kane. Referee's played the advantage, plays it forward to Bowen on this right-hand side. Saka's gone central, Grealish is coming in off the left. Bowen makes a strong run into the penalty area, and it strikes the heels of Acerbi. And Italy had enough numbers back to deal with the threat of the West Ham forward. But England have got it back in the closing stages here at Molineux. Maguire, is there time for a late winner? Tomori goes back towards Ramsdale. Ramsdale puts his foot on the ball inside the D, then towards Tomori. Italy are going to be making a change. We're going to be seeing Brian Crescente, the Roma midfielder, coming on. That's going to be a double change as well from Roberto Mancini, as he plots a late goal here. Italy, remember, were top of Group A3. Last we heard, it was still 1-1 in the other game, wasn't it, involving Hungary and Germany. So nothing really will change as far as the group is concerned. Hungary, of course, visit here for a sellout crowd on Tuesday night against England here at Molineux. As here comes the double change from Roberto Mancini with under 4 minutes remaining.
Tomori's just pulled up there for England as he passed that ball out of play, looked for Reece James, and he's not moving too well. He looks to be in a little bit of discomfort at the moment.
Let's get an update from John Akers down in Cardiff.
Wales pushing for an equaliser. 6 minutes to go plus added time. Wales 0, Belgium 1. They've won a free kick on the right-hand side. They've been pressing towards that wall of red towards my left. Still 0-1, but they are really going for it here, Wales, with 6 minutes left.
Thank you, John. Commentary on Sports Extra. Di Marco, the left back, makes way for Alessandro Florenzi, a Euro 2020 winner. The Milan defender, a teammate of Tomori. And the other change is going to be Pessina coming off, Matteo Pessina, and Brian Cristante coming on for him. And England are going to make a change too. And I think you just said about Tomori just pulling up a little bit. No chance he's going to be taken. He's going to come on to replace him.
No, he certainly looked to be in a bit of discomfort. He's kind of just shuffling off the pitch as well, Tomori, who's been very steady in this game. Like I said, he operates in a very controlled manner. I think his reading of the game's excellent, and he's not really put a foot wrong, Deno, has he?
So Guehi, and quickly, straight away, thrust into the action. The pass to him in field was sold a little bit short, and Gnonto was putting him under pressure, but Guehi, a replacement for Tomori, making only his second appearance, the Crystal Palace defender for England, coming on here in the closing stages. 2 minutes of normal time remaining, and it's also his first appearance in this Nations League campaign after an excellent season for Crystal Palace. 42 appearances, popping up with 4 goals as well for Patrick Vieira's side. Grealish fouled from behind. Free kick for England midway through their own half.
Well, how can England approach these final stages? I mean, in terms of scoring goals, this Nation League's not been very fruitful at the moment. And I just think there's been a lot of first touch in a negative direction in this second half. It's not quite been positive enough. We never look to really hit behind or stretch or go long. And I just think sometimes it's a little bit too tight on top, and it just allows Italy to be comfortable, to be set, know what's coming. And just having that little change up, the ability to go long into the front, just lengthen and stretch the pitch a little bit. We're playing through the lines all the time. It's just been a little bit comfortable for Italy in this second half.
That's the voice of Matt Upson, who went to the 2010 World Cup with England in South Africa. 21 caps for his country here on BBC Radio 5 Live as Grealish comes forward inside the last 60 seconds now of normal time. Trippier to Phillips. Phillips now with Maguire. Midway through the Italy half, still goalless. There will be a lot of added on time, one would imagine, with the amount of substitutions that have been made. But England go back. Maguire. They will remain bottom of Group A3 as Phillips passes the ball to Grealish. Grealish standing still midway through the Italy half, passes it back to Ward-Prowse. England lose the ball but get a free kick for a challenge on Trippier, and it's a free kick in a good position.
This might just be the type of opportunity that England really need. I mean, when you've got good delivery on the pitch in the shape of James Ward-Prowse, then, you know, Maguire should be licking his lips at this. Kane, get up into the box and just hope it's one of these magical deliveries that James Ward-Prowse can deliver.
We'll be going to Cardiff in a moment. There's been a late goal there, but here England have a free kick, 10 yards inside the left touch line over on that far side, just shy of 30 yards out from goal. A line of blue outside the penalty area. Ward-Prowse needs a good delivery. Ward-Prowse arcing its way in and then headed away by Cristante, and behind it goes for an England corner kick. We've seen England profit from set pieces at the World Cup. The school children, the 2,000 of them in the lower tier of that Steve Bull stand on that far side, are getting quite excited. We're into stoppage time here at Molineux. It's 0-0, and Ward-Prowse over on that far side, the left, as England play from left to right, have the corner. Ward-Prowse to take it, little flick on by Phillips. The referee spotted an infringement. Free kick to Italy. Let's go to John Akers, a goal.
Equaliser for Wales. Wales 1, Belgium 1 with 2 minutes of normal time remaining. And it's the substitute Brennan Johnson. The assistant gave it as offside on field. It went to the VAR, overturned. We've had 2 celebrations, but only 1 goal. Wales 1, Belgium 1.
We'll hope to hang on to this time after they thought they'd got a point the other night, and then of course they ended up losing. But Wales with a late equaliser. Brennan Johnson with the goal. He struck the post last week against Ukraine in Cardiff in that playoff match here in the Nations League. Italy are attacking, and Gnonto, right corner of the area, looks to go on the outside of Trippier. Plays it on the inside now, and this is pulled back. Esposito, Phillips with the challenge coming in. That was on Fratesi. England now break on the counter-attack with Bowen, and it's 3 against 3. Jared Bowen through the middle. Jared Bowen, Tonali gets back at him, barges him over, and Tonali is shown a yellow card, and that means that he will miss the game against Germany next week.
Well, Tonali knows exactly what he's trying to achieve here at this stage of the game. It's a really good counter-attack opportunity. Jared Bowen maybe just a little bit indecisive whether or not he should go himself, or Saka was on the overlap on the right-hand side. He just held onto the ball a little bit longer, allowed Tonali to get back, and he was always going to foul him and just try and break the play up.
England 0, Italy 0 here at Molineux, and we, by my watch, have the last 30 seconds of play, and England have a free kick. It's midway through the Italy half. It's Trippier to Maguire, who heads it back inside the penalty area. Might drop towards Harry Kane, could fall towards Ward-Prowse, and Gnonto is back there, and diving in was Bowen, and he's caught Gnonto, and that'll be a free kick to Italy, and that probably will the last bit of the action, I'm sure. 0-0.
Well, that's a nasty collision on the edge of the box. Jared Bowen doesn't know Gnonto's there, and he follows through, and that is a nasty whack on the shin for Jared Bowen. He absolutely wipes out the Italian as well. He's back up on his feet, but it was a fair old connection, wasn't it?
Free kick to Italy, and in fact there is no time for that free kick to be taken, because the Polish referee Simon Marciniak has blown the full-time whistle, and it is finished. England 0, Italy 0, and England remain bottom of Group A3. Your thoughts, Matt Upson?
I have to feel a little bit disappointed with our attacking style of play and our attacking in terms of the mentality of going forwards with the ball, and our first touch to be forwards and positive in the second half wasn't quite there. I thought first half was a really bright, lively game, both teams going at it, the passing was quick, it was slick, but second half just wasn't the same kind of tempo for me. And I think that in these games, when it's there for the taking, I mean, it's no surprise that we're not scoring a lot of goals in this Nations League at the moment, and I just think it's not quite there in terms of the mentality and the flow when we go forwards.
Certainly the better chances really for both sides came in the first half. Mason Mount heading the crossbar for England, but really after Sterling missed that and squandered that chance at the far post, and then the turn and shot, England struggled after that to create clear-cut opportunities. So it's finished here at Molineux. England 0, Italy 0.
Matt, I heard what you were saying about the game itself and the way it tailed off in the second half, and about England's Nations League campaign as a whole. After 3 games, they're bottom of their group with Germany, Hungary and Italy all above them. At what point should England start being concerned about the performances, the lack of goals, the position in the Nations League group?
Well, I think you're always going to be concerned, and I think if you know, Gareth Southgate, I'll be interested to hear what he says, because it's a game without scoring, and I think that for any manager or team that's always a concern, no matter what stage in the season or cup or whatever it may be. But I mean, for me, none of this is any reason to start panicking or jumping to conclusions or getting carried away. You have to analyse it, and you have to say what you see. It's there in front of you, and it's not quite as positive as what I've seen England in the past. So sometimes kind of taking a step back and going back to, well, what are the key drivers as to what made us more energetic, more positive, more decisive with our attacking play? And sometimes it's about peeling it back to that. But I don't want to keep harping on about it, but you have to step back at the time of year, state of the season, and I think you've just got to put it all into account and look at it all as a whole picture, and then you can kind of make a bit more sense of it.
Regarding the position as well in the group, Kelly, if you remember back in 2019 for the first edition of this Nations League, England went into their final group game against Croatia, where they could have been relegated if they lost, and if they drew, they'd have stayed in position, and yet they ended up winning and then going through to the final. So I don't think the position of the group will concern them too much at this stage.
No, and like you said, there are caveats around this run of results, but it's the first time since September 2018 that England have failed to win 3 consecutive games. There's only 1 goal been scored in all that time, and that was Harry Kane from the penalty against Germany. More reflection on England's goalless draw against Italy shortly. We're going to head back to Cardiff, though, where it's Wales 1, Belgium 1. The final moments of the game. John Akers, is anyone pushing for a winner?
No, Wales have backed off. They really went for it for a good 20 minutes, trailing 1-0 here. We've got 90 seconds or thereabouts left of the 6 added minutes at the end of the game. Brennan Johnson scoring the equaliser, a brilliant right foot finish. Flag went up, went to VAR, ruled onside. Such a shame he didn't get that initial moment. He got a second one though afterwards when it was given. Since then, Belgium have enjoyed a bit of possession. They've got it away to my right at the moment. Cross comes into the box. Hennessy stretching, claims it above his head. They took the lead through Tielemans 5 minutes into the second half, did Belgium. They missed a good chance through Trossard in the first half, but it's been a very even game. Ethan Ampadu had a goal ruled out for offside, Kelly, early on, just 4 minutes in. There wasn't much in that in the build-up, let me tell you. It's a really nice finish, a left foot half volley. So we've got about 30 seconds left. Let's see if Wales can conjure something. They definitely take a point. I would think it kind of keeps their hopes alive in Group A4. In real danger of dropping down as the Welsh national anthem is belted out. It was something else before kick-off. It's the first Wales home game I've ever done, and it was emotional. I'm not even Welsh. Belgium attacking to my right at the moment. We await the full-time whistle. I think this one could well play out to be a 1-1, Kelly, here. Final moments. Tielemans just knocking it square. The anthem finishes, a ripple of applause. That's it, we're over the 6 minutes. The French referee has a look at his watch, and I would have think this would be the last attack. Belgium have got it midway inside the Wales half. Maybe they can put one more cross into the box. Hazard's got it on as a substitute. They've still got it 30 yards out. Might be chance for one more shot here for Belgium. They've got it in the penalty area. Cross it goes. Cleared away by Wales. Tielemans back into the penalty area. Hacked away by Wales. High, and there goes the whistle. And Wales have got themselves a point at the Cardiff City Stadium in Nations League Group A. The fans at the far end didn't hear the whistle, and Wales were away through the middle. But it's a good point and a fair point in the end. It's finished Wales 1, Belgium 1, Kelly.
Brennan Johnson with the equaliser came on as a substitute, didn't he? And he's had such a fantastic season with Nottingham Forest, and it feels as though he's really going to give Wales that extra dimension.
Get him in your fantasy teams for next season. He might be that cheap striker you're looking for, let me tell you honestly. I've watched him a lot with Forest this season. He's sharp. He's had almost as many assists as he's had goals for Forest, and when he came on, he ran at Belgium. He had pace. He carried the ball up the pitch. He had a shot which was deflected wide when he'd just come on for Gareth Bale, and the finish isn't easy. It kind of came to him on an angle in the penalty area, about 15-16 yards out. Aaron Ramsey with a nice little spin. Didn't know much about it, Ramsey, but it came off his heel, fell to Johnson. First time under that amount of pressure, his second international goal, to tuck it away with his instep like he did, low to the goalkeeper's left-hand side. It was a super finish. He's had a brilliant season, and this kind of keeps it bubbling for Wales. It's the first game where Robert Page, the manager, has been able to pick a team really without having to think about the World Cup qualifier. Right, you know, just about to play it or just had it. We saw a strong Wales lineup, and they performed well tonight.
1-1 draw then against Belgium for Wales at the Cardiff City Stadium. John Akers, thank you very much for joining us. A really good result for Wales, that one, and it gives them their first point of their Nations League campaign, having played 3 games. England played out a goalless draw against Italy. Ian Dennis and Matt Upson are at Molineux, as is Henry Winter, chief football writer for The Times. Henry, just to reflect on this result for England and this performance for England, there are caveats to why this performance may have come at this stage of what's been a long season, what's been a long couple of years. But are there going to be causes for concern, the fact that England haven't managed a goal other than Harry Kane's penalty in their 3 Nations League matches?
Hi, I think there have been causes for concern since the second half against Italy. Obviously, tonight's opposition in the Euro final last summer. I think We saw Southgate. Was he necessarily reacting quickly enough? Was he releasing the handbrake? I think England looked better when obviously when Kane came on. I thought when Bowen was running it. The Italian defence, but this is a much changed Italian team who haven't qualified for the World Cup, and England struggled to score. So absolutely their causes for concern. I mean, look, Southgate's been fantastic with England in terms of almost uniting the country behind the team, taking a lot of the fear out of the shirt, rebuilding relationship with the fans and the media to an extent, but clearly there are concerns.
Matt, they want to get more out of their attacking players. You want to see more from England's attacking players. Gareth Southgate wants to see more from England's attacking players.
Yep.
The question is, how do they do that?
Well, I think a lot of it is mentality, if I'm honest, and I think it is just a way of thinking. It's an approach, and it's, if I look at the chances tonight and I look at some of the opportunities we missed, the Raheem Sterling one for me is a classic one, in that just being more aggressive, more decisive when you play. And when players come on, when we talk about players that we wanted to see, like we wanted to see Jack Grealish start tonight because we see him be decisive and impactful when he comes on off the bench. Jared Bowen's come on, as Henry just mentioned, got the ball first thing, he challenges, he scrappily falls on the floor, he drives it to the defence. It doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be elaborate at times, although all of that's very nice and part of the game. But you want to see that edge, and I just don't see it at the moment, that real ruthless edge of this team that's going to go and win games and win tournaments and score goals. It's just not there. And can it be rediscovered? Yeah, I think it can, and hopefully it will be, but it's going to need to be if England are going to want to move on and be more successful in the next tournament.
But how much stock do you put into the fact of the starting lineup tonight, that probably only 4 or 5 of them, of the starting 11, will be starting the opening game in the World Cup?
Yeah, for me it doesn't matter, because it's the message. It doesn't matter because those players could be going to the World Cup. There could be a lot of the players that we think are going to start might be injured or might go out of form. It doesn't matter. For me, it's the overall ethos, and it's what Gareth Southgate, for me, has been very good at. He's coming in, his messaging has been clear on a whole array of different things. Henry touched on it in terms of taking out the fibs. The first objective is really done that extremely well. We're now in a situation where we've had a bit of success. Okay, we've made a final and a semi-final in a World Cup. It's been amazing. But the next level is, right, we need to revisit that and then go again and become better. And I think that is a really difficult thing to create.
I think, sorry Kelly interrupting, I think that if you look at this generation, I mean, we had the golden generation, and we don't want to sort of return to labels like that, but this is a fabulous generation of talent. You look at Bellingham, you look at what he's been doing, you look at his ability to sort of break into the box, you look at Trent Alexander-Arnold, what he's been doing for Liverpool in Europe, and you know, a player who unfortunately was missing through COVID, although he's overcome COVID tonight, but you know, he wasn't deemed right enough to play, is Phil Foden. I think he is just, you know, when you see him with Manchester City, you see his ability to take the ball in tight areas, his ability to thread passes through, his movement, his work rate. I think England do have players, and it's just a question of Southgate getting that balance right, getting some of these players in. The Trent Alexander-Arnold debate will probably continue deep into the World Cup, particularly if he's sitting on the bench. Gary Lineker tweets about him regularly, and you can understand it, because you know, of the great passers that England have had, the truest passers, you know, when you think of a Paul Scholes and Alexander-Arnold, particularly with those long switches that he can play, turning defence into attack, you know, he's absolutely up there. And
where do you play him, though?
I think you have to play him as an orthodox right back, and I think you actually have to. I mean, okay, so the way Liverpool do it, with Salah dropping off slightly and Henderson moving over to the right when required. I think if England are going to win a World Cup, and they do have this generation of talent do have a trophy in them, I think Southgate is going to have to take risks.
But what about the prospect then of Alexander-Arnold? Because I think he's actually behind Kyle Walker in the right back slot. He might even be behind Reece James. How does... Yes, he's going forward, his passing ability, what he can create, but primarily he's there to defend. What about the concerns that you'd have as Alexander-Arnold as a defender?
I think in Southgate's mind, Alexander-Arnold is probably 5th amongst his right backs. I just don't think he particularly trusts him. And there is that defensive issue. And we obviously saw it in the Champions League final, and I accept that. But I think if England are going to are going to actually do something in this tournament, they've got to take one or two risks. And Alexander-Arnold, he is such a fantastic talent. It's not because he plays for Liverpool. I know everyone thinks that the media have Pep thinks everyone's in love with Liverpool. He is just an outstanding, youngish talent. There was only one player, respect to the professionals, there was only one English player who was in the PFA team of the season, and that was Alexander-Arnold.
I think also that playing him, if you're going to start to talk about Alexander-Arnold, then the defensive partnership in terms of centre-backs has to be ironed out, and it has to be nailed on, because I think if you're going to account for what he brings with the ball, you've also got to account for what he brings without it. And when we need to be really, really solid in that sense. So whether or not England are ready at this moment in time for him in that position as a right back, I think is also a question that Gareth Southgate will be thinking long and hard about.
But Stones can cover over there. Stones is an intelligent defender. Obviously, he plays it when Walker... I understand the Walker debate, and he is fantastic, and he clearly is going to go, and he will start, because Gareth will probably play a back three out in Qatar, and it will be Walker, Stones and Maguire. I just think he has to be a little bit more adventurous. I understand the flip side of Alexander-Arnold, but at some point, Southgate's going to have to go against type and take one or two risks.
If you think he's going to play a back three in Qatar, why do you think he's started with a back four in this game and the game against Germany?
Well, it was interesting when we had our briefing with him yesterday. He was talking about actually it sowed a few seeds of doubt in the opposition mind, that the fact that England can play these different formations. I prefer a back four, because I think the majority of players play that way. It allows that extra body in midfield, which is traditionally where England do need a bit of extra presence. And we've got some fantastic... Look, if you play a player like Alexander-Arnold, don't put 7 on his back. Don't play him as a wing back. Try him out in central midfield. I understand why Southgate did that. But play him at right back in a back four. It has worked. I know England got to the semi-final with a back three, and then the final with a back three, slightly sort of tweaked. But I think with that back four, I think just England look more confident with it.
In terms of what Gareth Southgate will do, because what we're talking about is what we think England should do, and that isn't necessarily what we think Gareth Southgate will do. But there are big decisions to be made in terms of what front three he goes for, and which way he decides to pick that. Obviously we haven't seen the first choice in this game this evening against Italy. Denno, who's in contention for those places seriously? Well,
you've got Kane, Sterling, Mount, Foden. They've got Grealish. The options are there for Gareth Southgate. It's just trying to strike that right combination. But I think that Harry Kane's a given. I think Raheem Sterling's a given. And then you're probably looking at one of... I would go with Foden. But then what do you do about Jack Grealish? He tried playing all of them against Hungary last October, and it didn't work. England looked disjointed that night at Wembley in a 1-1 draw. The balance wasn't right. But you're not going to be able to get them all in. That will not work the way that England play, because he'll have Rice and he'll have Phillips or a Henderson in the midfield as well. So two of the five are going to miss out.
I think the other interesting thing is whether or not you play like a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, and it's very different in the sense that you can put in another midfield player, like a Bellingham, like somebody like that, or play Mount a little bit deeper and allow a proper front three, as opposed to, I think sometimes the way we play, it can look a little bit crowded. I like a number 10, and if it's done in the right way, for me, I like that player on the pitch, but we're all a little bit on top of each other at times. It looks a bit tight in front of that 18-yard box. And I think that's something else that whether or not he's going to tinker with and play 3 midfield players or an out-and-out attacking number 10 player.
Kelly, I think we can pick his starting 11 for the World Cup now. It'll be Pickford in goal. It will be Walker, Stones and Maguire. It will be possibly Reece James on the right. And then if you're looking at Chilwell, if fit, Touchwood, he'll be fit on the left.
I'm going to come back to you on this, because one of those players you just named, Harry Maguire, is waiting in the tunnel to talk to John Murray.
Yes, thanks, Kelly. Harry Maguire standing in front of us. So what did you make of that, Harry?
Disappointment in the end. We came into the game wanting to get the 3 points and to move up the group. The first half I felt like was a pretty even game with chances for both teams, and The second half we really pushed and dominated the game really, and it really looked like there was only going to be one winner. We created enough chances, good chances as well, to win the football match. So frustrating in the end, but I think there's positives to take from it. They're a good team, they're a top team, they're well organised, and I think it shows over these last 3 matches now that at this level, at the international level, that games are decided on big moments, and you've got to take your big moments when they come. And over the last 3 games, we haven't done that, and we've got another big one on Tuesday that we need to make sure we win.
Yeah, there were a lot of close things tonight, but what do you think it is that is just lacking?
Yeah, I think we've had so many balls flashed across the box and crosses, and I think, like I said, we've created chances. I think on another day we scored 2 or 3 goals comfortably tonight. The first half we give them a little bit too much in terms of chances for them. So we spoke about that at half time. The second half was a lot better and a clean sheet. But I think the main thing we've got to realise is that these games are at a top level, and you don't get given games. You've got to earn games, and when the moments come in these games, whether it's in our penalty box to defend, you've got to defend, and when it's in their penalty box, you've got to score. And they're the big moments in the games, what decide matches, and it's going to be the same in Qatar. Yeah, you had a new partner alongside you tonight, Fikayo Tomori. Big night for him, playing against the Italians. How do you think he did? No, he was brilliant. I think he's had a magnificent season. A great move for him to go out there and play at such a top club, and to win the league as well. He's been brilliant over there. I haven't seen too many of his games, but I hear a lot about him, and it's great to have competition at this level. And I play for my country, but also I want my country to win every time they play. So the more talent coming through, the better players coming through, the happier I am, and it gives us the biggest opportunity to win the World Cup, and that's all our aim. Yeah. Just one final question, Harry, because I know you do think quite deeply about the game, don't you? And there is this criticism of Gareth Southgate's England team at the moment that they're not adventurous enough, not cautious enough. I'm sure you're all aware of that. What do you think of that? Well, I think his record over the last 4 years speaks for itself. So when you play at the highest level, under the biggest scrutiny and the pressure, every game that you don't win, there's always going to be criticism. So the last few games we haven't won, we haven't scored enough goals. But of course, the record speaks. We got to a World Cup semi-final playing this way. We're a penalty shootout away from winning the Euros in our own country, which would be one of the greatest moments this country's ever seen. So, no, I think let the football do the talking, and everyone get behind us for the World Cup and keep pushing us, and we're doing our best to improve. We've shown over the last 3 games that there's still areas to improve. And if we want to go and lift the World Cup in Qatar, we've got to strive to improve. And every day that we get together, we've got to aim for that, because we want to set high standards, and we have done over recent years. And the next one is to lift the trophy. Lovely, thank you, Harry. Thank you very much. And I think Aaron Ramsdale is just coming in behind Harry Maguire. Yes, he is. Here he is. Aaron. Nice. We're live on 5 Live at the moment, so just to make you aware of that. Second cap tonight, second clean sheet. Yeah, this was a little bit more of a tester than the other one against San Marino, wasn't it? Yeah, absolutely. I think the first game against San Marino definitely got my nerves out the way and just allowed me to play and relax tonight. But it's a good Italian team. It doesn't matter if they're young, and there's a few players with not as many caps. We know what they're all about in Serie A, and it was another tough test tonight. Yeah. What was the pick of the saves for you? The one where you had to scramble across the goal line? I would guess that would be it. Yeah, I think so. And us 3 goalkeepers and Marge, we work every day on them situations. Being able to react and see where the players are coming in from. And being able to see the player coming in the back post allows me to get over and make myself big. So that was a nice save for me to make. Yeah, that's sort of carried on from where you've left off with Arsenal, hasn't it, this season? Yeah, I'm bringing a lot of confidence into my game time tonight. I've been playing well for Arsenal, been playing positively, and there's going to be dips along the way. I've a little bit disappointed in myself towards the second half, getting a little bit sloppy on the ball, but learning how to sort of play in this England team, there'll be times like that. But yeah, I think off the back of my sort of Arsenal season, I've just come in to this camp, hit it head on, and trying to push Nick and Jordan all the way.
Yeah, well, thanks very much, Aaron. Thanks for coming out.
Top
You
man.
can't make much better start than 2 clean sheets as a goalkeeper, can you?
Thanks, no, I can't. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Aaron Ramsdale, Kelly.
John, thank you very much. John Murray with the questions there. And before Aaron Ramsdale, we heard from Harry Maguire. Henry Winter, before we heard from both of them, you were telling us you could pretty much predict what Gareth Southgate is going to do in terms of his starting 11, should everybody be fit for the World Cup in Qatar. Just going on what Harry Maguire said, Fikayo Tomori may well have given Southgate a little something to think about. Are there any question marks? Where do you think the most open positions are?
Oh, well, I think one definite positive from tonight was the man that John's just been talking to. I thought Ramsdale, I thought particularly the save from Tonali, I thought was outstanding. And, you know, England have got a decent collection of goalkeepers. Pickford's clearly number one, but Pope and Ramsdale will go to Qatar as well. So, you know, that is, if there is one positive from tonight, it is Ramsdale performance. I think he's probably number 2 now. I mean, Pope might dispute that. But in terms of positions that are up for grabs, I still think their doubts at centre-half. I think Walker's obviously going to be in there for his pace, and he can play on the right side of the 3. I think Stones, when he's absolutely settled and he's confident, I think he's a terrific player. I think Maguire, he almost just seems to need to get some of his belief back, because he was in the team of the tournament at the Euros. There is a good defender in there. He's obviously had a troubled time at Manchester United this season, but I just think that, you know, there's still concerns at the back. I don't think there's so many problems up front as the guys were talking about earlier. I think it will be a Foden, Kane, Sterling front 3, and then you'll see Rice and Phillips holding. I think what you saw from Rice today is you're seeing a development of this player under Moyes, and obviously, you know, he's a pretty driven individual himself. He is becoming more of a box-to-box player. Obviously, he needs to add more of a goal threat, but he's such an athlete now. He's got a fantastic engine. You saw that particularly in the first half. There were a couple of driving runs, defending back and then attacking forward, and I think, you know, it's obviously not the most creative of central midfields, but I think Rice does give you that extra energy.